Happy Friday evening, everybody. Welcome to the Over Under live right here on 1252 Sports Entertainment out of Chicago. I'm your host, Harry the Greek. If you notice, my co-host isn't here tonight because he decided that it was more important to go get dinner at Texas de Brazil in Tampa. But hey, you know what? I can't blame him. It was better than Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue. For some reason, he thought that wasn't going to be as good. What a goofball. That's all I can say. I love Texas de Brazil. Wife's still trying to get me to go back. Man, what a week 17 in sports, guys. Oh, my Lord. How tough was that? How exciting was that for the final week in the NFL? And how many different games had impacts on the next game? Well, the one that comes to mind is going to be the LA Raiders versus the Chargers. I have a question for you. Why didn't they just tie the game? They would have eliminated the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they both would have made it in. But those are a lot of different questions that we're going to have. You know what? We're going to have a whole bunch of comments coming in here today. We're going to go ahead and read them live on the air. And let me go ahead and pop this up here. We're going to actually take phone calls today. And it says, you have a question or a comment for Greek or Pete, you can call in. And I was just kidding, by the way. Peter's going to be at his studio, and he'll be on in about 20 or 25 minutes. We decided to go about 15 minutes early today. And my co-host tonight is going to be no one other than himself, Mr. Fat Mike from 1252 Sports, and various other guests we're going to be talking about and breaking down different games from the National Football League in the wild card weekend that I am so excited to talk about. We have a comment already, and that's from Mr. Roger Shue. He's the tribal troll, they say, for the sports web with Peter Blake, but he's kind of like my friend. He's a Chicago native, too. The only thing I don't like about Roger is he's a Cub fan. Roger Shue says the moderator is in the house. And Roger says, Harry, the boss picked up the tab. I was quite happy about that, but, you know, they could have invited your boy, Roger. I mean, I really would have liked that Texas de Brazil. And Roger says, hey, Fat Mike. And I got Mike in the background giving us one of these numbers like, hey, what's up? Pretty exciting day for the Greek today. I am going to go ahead and talk about it here in just a few seconds here when we're going to, you know what? I'm not even going to wait. Why even wait? We could just bring him right on. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, he doesn't need much of an introduction. It's the man, the myth, the legend himself. Fat Mike, what are you doing, little brother?
What's up, everybody? How we doing? Thanks for having me on, Harry. I appreciate it.
Oh my God! Thanks for having me on, Mike. It's been an exciting day for the Greek here, bro. I mean, it's like
has been. You've been going all crazy all day. You've been bouncing back and forth. You've been all over the earth today on the radio airwaves. It's been something for you. Congratulations.
Yeah. It's been kind of weird because I'll tell you what. I had to do an interview. Well, I didn't have to. Okay, I mean, it was really cool that they invited me. It's a really unique group of radio stations in the Amarillo area, and these guys are awesome. And the format that they use is absolutely incredible. I mean, I thought I was going on just to talk about football lines, but they genuinely wanted to get to know you. And they're also live on Facebook, and I went ahead and posted it to my stream. I posted it on 1252, and the response was really good. But I'll tell you what, they asked some pretty hard questions that you're not really expected to hear. Like, you know, tell us about your family. Let's get to know you.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Yeah, I heard my favorite ice cream. Yeah. Hold on, not just the ice cream. My favorite bands, music. I mean, did you play sports? Didn't you play sports? Let me tell you something. That was a lot of fun. But you know what I liked most about that interview today, Mike? I did a little bit of a background with them. They do a lot of work in the city of Amarillo. They help out a lot of people in need. And you couldn't ask for a better group of guys to run a sports show. They have great guests, and it was just a lot of fun. And you know what? And they poke good fun too. And that's the good part about it. It's unreal.
Right. And those guys, I mean, I listened to the entire show, Harry, and I don't know. Please forgive me. I apologize because
it was 806 Sports Radio out of Amarillo, Texas.
Thank you. They had some really awesome interviews, even with you, especially, but with the female weightlifter that they had on before you. That was
Alyssa Ballard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely awesome. Like, it was really cool to get a different take of things and, introducing something different to the sports world. That's something that's not really talked about all the time. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed listening to their show today.
Without question. You know what I'm going to do, Mike? I've never done this before, but I'm going to invite anybody that wants to come on the show this evening. If you have a question or a comment, you disagree with me or Mike, hey, I dare you. Go ahead and come on. I'm going to post the link.
People are going to disagree with me, Harry.
That's okay. I am going to post the link into the chat, folks. Roger, have a blast, buddy. It's on YouTube.
He's leaving already?
No, he's not leaving. I'm just saying he sees it, and all he's got to do is click on that link. Roger, I'd love to have you on there. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of these comments, actually. Facebook user, I don't know who it is. How about the Bears McCaskey's presser Monday, Harry? Shaking my head. Yeah, tell me about Jesus it. I was disgusted. Absolutely disgusted. It was really good for like 4 or 5 hours, and then he came on. Yeah. I'm a fan? Yeah. Did he really say that, Mike? I'm a fan?
Yep. Yes, he did. Yep.
I'm the owner of the organization. I'm a fan.
Harry, I don't know. I have been beating this like a dead horse all week, man. All week. You know me. I'm a diehard Bear fan, diehard Chicago guy up here. I love my Cubs. I love my Bulls. I love my Blackhawks. But everybody knows that I bleed blue and orange. Navy and orange. Everybody knows this. I am a diehard Bear fan, thick and thin. As much as I hate to love this team, I love to hate them at the same time. And we were up here in Chicago. I know that you're down there in the St. Pete area, and I know that you're a transplant down there. So I know that your skin is thick, just like a South Side guy is supposed to be. All right, yeah. That's why I love you, Harry. All right, but when that presser came out up here in Chicago, the Chicago Bear fans were only able to be happy with the firing of Nagy and the firing of Pace for about 4.5 hours. And that's 100%. That presser, it made me want to eat a bullet. Like I'm not even joking. It made me want to go into my bedroom, load my 45 and eat a bullet right here in my office. And be like, this is your fault, Chicago Bears. That would be my note. My suey note would be, this is your fault, George McCaskey in Virginia. This is your fault. Thank you.
No, dude, I got to tell you, it made me want to jump in my a nice, real hot bathtub and just
throw a toaster.
Yeah, I'm just serious, man. It was just, I couldn't believe it was coming out of her mouth. I mean, I hate to talk like that. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, listen, mental health's a big thing, but I mean, I was in the same boat you were. I was ready to fill up my bathtub and throw a plugged-in toaster and a microwave in there with me because it fucking drove me nuts. Excuse me.
I mean, throw the microwave, the toaster oven, and what the hell, man? Throw the stove in there. I've seen your bathtub.
Whatever plugs into an outlet, the coffee maker, anything, toaster oven, toaster, anything. Just throw it in there with me and just hit play. It drove me nuts, man. That McCaskey. I'm sure we're going to touch more on that.
I have a question for you, man. Seriously, who do you think they're going to get as a GM?
Man, I mean, I don't know. I've been back and forth on this. Who do I think or who do I want? I mean, that's the big question. Who do I think or who do I want?
Give me both.
Okay, so who I think that they'll end up getting? Who I think they'll end up getting is a hope. I don't know. I think they'll end up probably getting Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah out of Cleveland. Is who I think they'll end up getting.
Why would you want someone you can't pronounce their name?
Well, I mean, I pronounced it pretty well there, and
yes, he's done a pretty good. Their name is what
he's done a pretty damn good job out there in Cleveland. But there's been other guys that are rumored for that. Wolf out there in New England, Omar Khan, the Steelers, Ed Dodds. Ed Dodds is the guy that I really, really, really want to be the next GM of the Chicago Bears. So who I think they'll get is probably somebody from the Colts, which would probably be Morocco Brown or Ed Dodds, but I could see Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah out of Cleveland. But with the coaches, man, I mean, I can go up and down all this thing over and over and over again. And somehow, some way, I still see the Bears picking Doug Peterson as their next head coach because he's going to be the cheapest option.
Actually, he wouldn't be the cheapest option, in my opinion. I think Leslie Frazier would be the cheapest option. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Doug Peterson. Actually, I kind of like that acquisition. He just kind of wore his welcome out in Philadelphia. He's got a really good offensive game plan. He brings a lot of coaches with him. And he's also defensive-minded as well. I mean, he's very well-rounded. I think he would probably be one of the best candidates out there. Unfortunately, I don't know if they're going to have a chance to get him because the Chicago Bears, as you know, have never hired a head coach with head coaching experience. It just hasn't happened.
Right.
And, I hate to use this terminology. It's, the Bears hire coaches and it's like everybody sits in this boardroom. Okay. And I'm not beating up on the team. And it's like they have bags of dog shit in their hands and they're going to throw it up against the wall and maybe eventually something is going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And quite frankly, that's exactly what they've been doing for so many years. It's sad. The other one I wouldn't mind is the interview that they took care of today from Miami, Mr. Flores. I mean, he'd be a nice pickup as well.
Yes.
In my opinion, he'd be a hell of a pickup. Who else would you say would be a good pickup?
The other pickups that I really like, I mean, I don't mind Dan Quinn. Although he was the head honcho of the Legion of Boom there in Seattle, brought the Atlanta Falcons to the Super Bowl down there in Atlanta, obviously. Other head coaching candidates that I really like are guys that they haven't even interviewed yet. I don't like you and I have talked about before in the past, and if you go back on our other shows and listen here at 1252, I've been a non-advocate of guys like Brian Dable because he doesn't run the ball. He wouldn't know what to do with a running back if it sat on his face and wiggled. All right,
that's true, man. It's the same thing with Byron Leftwich. You do know that, right?
That was the next guy I was going to bring up. That's the very next guy I was going to bring up. But out of those two, I would prefer Byron Leftwich because Byron Leftwich, honestly, had that pretty good year, scoring 26.8 points a game.
Yeah,
with the Buccaneers before they got Tom Brady with a busted up Jameis Winston going 30 for 30 and 5,000 yards.
But then again, these are the same people, these are the same people, honestly, in the same organization and the same people that were calling plays that not only threw 30 touchdowns, but the elite club of 30 interceptions. He's part of the 30-30 club.
Exactly.
Okay.
The number one guy that surprises me, honestly, and you and I have talked about this off the air, Harry, when we're sitting there talking back and forth, we're shooting shit, and we're talking just, you and I off the air. The guy that I'm surprised the Bears have not tried to interview yet is my man down. I love this kid. I don't know what it is about him. I love him. I like what he has going on down there. Is Kellen Moore from the Dallas Cowboys.
You were talking about that.
I think
he might be a year away.
And you're right. I think he may be a year or maybe a year or two away. All right. But what this kid did last year with the Dallas Cowboys is unfathomable. Like it's ridiculous. It's unstomachable. He had Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci from week 4 on. All right. Week 4 on. An offensive line that pretty much sat out the entire year or was injured because of COVID or whatever. The defense was absolutely trash. And somehow, some way, they still managed to have a top 11 offense in all of football. How does that happen? How does that happen?
It is pretty good, but he also has
blows my mind. It blows my Ben DiNucci. That's all you got to say. That's my only argument.
But they also don't run the football enough, and we're going to get into that as well.
He did with Zeke, with Tony Pollard. That's why Tony Pollard had a really great showing out last year.
They're still not getting enough touches, especially to Ezekiel Elliott. And I love Tony Pollard. You know what, Mike? We're going to go ahead and get into this. We're going to go ahead and ring some comments in there. We have someone in the back room we're going to go ahead and bring in. He's one of our newest additions. But first, we have to pay some bills. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take a good 30 or 40 seconds, and let's give a little tribute to our boys over at Nick and Ivy Brewing.
Hello, this is Paul from Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. We are located at 1026 South State Street in historic downtown Lockport, Illinois. We are very excited to be partnering up with the Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as well as the 1252 brand because we are one of the few Chicagoland breweries that embrace sports and sports culture. Come in for a fresh brewed beer made right here in Lockport while catching the game of your favorite team. Stay for the live music that we have booked every weekend. Or just come for a cozy atmosphere to enjoy a good conversation with a friend, loved one, or complete stranger. Nick and Ivy makes you feel right at home no matter what the occasion is. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook by searching for Nick and Ivy Brewing Company. Visit our website for our up-to-date tap list or to go shopping on our online store at nickivybrewing.com. That's Nikivy brewing.com. Come in today for a fresh brewed beer born and raised in Lockport, Illinois.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Darren, licensed real estate broker with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group in Homer Glen. Are you looking to buy or sell? Have you been disappointed in the past? The Jonathan Darren team with Coldwell Banker Real Estate Group focuses on providing you with a concierge level of service during the process of buying or selling. We are a service-oriented team with a fresh and professional approach to selling real estate. Our goal is to combine knowledge, skills, and passion to exceed our clients' expectations, and most of all, we truly care. We are a knowledgeable real estate team focused on offering expertise and innovative solutions for our clients. The Jonathan Darren team has 5 full-service real estate brokers and a dedicated full-time marketer servicing all of Chicagoland. We will customize a detailed plan around your timeline for a sale, purchase, investment, estate, or other needs. Real estate transactions can be stressful, but don't need to be. Let us handle it for you. Visit our website, homesbyjdt.com, or call 708-308-1938 today. Expect better in real estate. Choose the Jonathan Darren team.
Thanks for your patience, everybody. A little couple words from our sponsors. Great sponsors from 1252 Sports. Welcome to the Over Under. I'm your host, Harry the Greek, on the Over Under. Our special guest today is Mr. Fat Mike. Mike, I just want to know one thing.
Yes.
They have a beer named after you, the Fat Mike. So if I have like 3 of them, can I be a fat drunk?
Yeah, you definitely can, because the Fat Mike beer is a very, very good beer. Everybody,
I got to try the Huebner one, bro. I got to try the Huebner one.
Listen, what Nick and I have here. Look, I'm not even on purpose. I'm wearing their hat because this is like one of my favorite hats. It fits my head good. What they got going on over there, Nick and Ivy, they always come up with some really cool beers. They always come up with something different, something new. They have a bunch of sours, a Heffenweizen, and Oktoberfest. They call it the Locktoberfest. They got a bunch of good beers up there. The Huebner, the Fat Mike, all of them are fantastic up there. I have not had a bad beer from Nick and Ivy.
No, I believe you. Anyway, you got a question or comment, make sure you post them. We're going to go ahead and read them live on the air. And if you want to disagree with myself, the Petester, or the Mikester, and the other Mike that's going to be coming in here in just a few minutes, call 727-320-5866. That's 727-320-5866. I'm your host, Harry the Greek. I'm going to go ahead and introduce him, our newest member to 1252 Sports. We're going to go ahead and give him a little bit of a baptism. Mr. Mike Hughes, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, guys?
Not much, man. Here, let's get a big picture of this mug. Here we go. Check him out. Look at them teeth.
Young,
he's just
youthful,
smiling away.
Young,
what do we got there in the back wall, Mike? What do we have back there? Talk a little bit about what you have back there.
Yeah, well, I'm only 21, so I got my birth draft boy over here, the 2000 draft. I got my boy Brian. You got the 85 Bears over here. And I rotated. I got a Singletary one and a Richard Dent one. So, and a Walter Payton. So I rotated throughout the year. So yeah, that's really what I got going on back here. A couple helmets. And yeah.
Hey, Mike, you got something over your left shoulder. I think it's kind of interesting. Is that autographed?
The which one is it? Okay.
Helmet.
No. Over your left shoulder, the one helmet. Just over your left shoulder. It's standing on a pedestal. It looks like it's a baseball.
No, it's a Cubs baseball.
Oh yeah. No, this is just my little wine glass.
No. He can't be there. Sorry. Put that thing away. Put it away. Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Yeah. I was going to tell you, do me a favor. You could take a minute, walk over to the toilet, push it over, and then hit flush.
You know, Harry, I'm going to be honest with you. The way that season went and the way they handled everything, until they prove to me otherwise, I'll stand with that, and I have to take that for what it is.
No, man. Let me tell you something. The Chicago Cubs, as people know me, they know I'm a diehard Southsider. I'm a diehard White Sox fan. But you know what? I'm also a closet Cub fan. There's nothing wrong with it. No one ever said you can't root for both teams.
I did.
I just do it to put on the show.
I
understand that.
Also did.
But if you move down here to Florida, you don't understand, man. You can understand, Mike. You understand.
I love Harry. I love Harry like a I love Harry like a brother and a father and a family member. All right, I really do. I love Harry. All right, but he's a transplant, Mike. He's a transplant. He transplanted from Chicago. He moved up. He took all his roots and went down there to the sunshine state of Florida, where there's alligators and snakes and hurricanes.
And air conditioning on right now, by the way, just to let you know, I have the air conditioning on.
The humidity, and I can't stand it. But he transplanted his ways down there, and now he's even more south side.
I don't know
because he's really south side. Like the only thing that happens in Florida is like, I don't know, tires getting taken off at the pump. while you're pumping
Oh,
gas.
stop. That's enough of this BS.
And then
We're going to get back.
Florida,
they pump the gas for you too. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
No. Hey, Mike, but seriously, man, welcome to the team. Looking forward to working with you. Can't wait to get you on some of these shows. We're going to go ahead and pick your brain. From what I understand, your forte is really heavy in basketball. I think you're going to end up having a lot of fun. I think you made the right choice by moving over here to 1252, because I'm going to tell you what, it's up and coming. We're going to have a ton of fun, and we're going to start getting a lot of pub. All I want you to do is just say it loud, say it proud, brother. It's 1252, and it's exactly where we're at.
Yes, sir.
Roger Shue says, I didn't get the invite either. Troy Palomalu says, Harry said growing up his favorite restaurant was Casa Italiano and his favorite food was cannoli. There you go, Troy. That's all I could tell you, buddy. Troy says, bottles out, Big Mike's here. Roger Shue says, hit that thumbs up. Super chats are open. Here, ladies and gentlemen, I went ahead and posted the link up in the chat board. So if you have a question or a comment, go ahead. I dare you. Go ahead and click the link. Come on in if you disagree with us. Adam Padermo. Adam, how you doing, buddy? What's up, guys?
Oh, my boy, Adam.
Adam's definitely. By the way, for people that don't know, Adam's getting married at the end of the year. He is.
He's getting married in a couple weeks. Yep.
Roger Shue says, "Go Sox, go." Are you saying that right?
No, that's not what he said.
He's a horrible owner. Troy Palomalu says, I heard the Bears hate the Packers so much that they refuse to win a Lombardi trophy.
He said the same. Come on, Troy. You said that same shit the other night against my show. Come up with something new, bud. Come up with something new.
Roger Shue says, North Side for life.
Thank you.
Really? I hate to tell you what the North Side's full of. Facebook users, LOL. Christian says, Matt Nagy's a clown. The story
hopping in here. I love this kid. Christian is the man, dude. I love Christian. He's a good dude.
Matt Nagy's a clown. The story came out via The Athletic about him ghosting Trubisky in meetings to discuss offensive game planning. A complete joke, good riddance. You know what? That brings me up to another narrative, because it is my show. I get to defend whoever I want. And Mike, I know exactly how much you loved Mitch Trubisky, but he's right. Okay, Trubisky never had a chance. He was never his. Right. He was never his quarterback. Right. And that's all I'm going to say on it.
Oh, well, listen, okay, regardless of what happened with Mitch Trubisky and Matt Nagy and whatever, I don't give a shit if Matt Nagy was the head honcho play caller from of all time. All right, Mitchell Trubisky couldn't hit a fucking 15-yard flat to save his life. That's why Mitchell Trubisky is a backup now in the NFL. And for all these
guys, he's the backup this year, but he'll be starting. Mike,
I'm not going to name names, but there's a prominent guy here in Chicago who loves Mitch Trubisky. And Harry, we both have had him on our shows. We are both friends of him.
I'm going to name his name.
No, leave him out of it.
I'm going to agree with him, okay? Because he's absolutely correct.
I don't think so. But it's not East, West, or South. It's not Mike East, West, or South. Okay, that's what I'll say. It's not Mike East, West, or South. You guys can find the other rotation to go to. All right, but I mean, listen, Mitch Trubisky is what he is. I was not happy when they moved up in the draft to draft Mitch Trubisky, because he wasn't a guy that was an immediate starter and an immediate plug and play guy on your team. He was
Mike,
not
over or under that Mitch Trubisky starts, and the same question goes to you, Mike. We're going to go ahead and ask Fat Mike first, that he starts for an NFL franchise next year.
Under. I'm taking the under.
Mike?
I'm taking over.
I'm going to give you 2-1 on your money, Mike. Name the price right now. I promise you he will be starting for a National Football League team next year.
I say Pittsburgh, Broncos, whoever it may be. I think they're going to get
Pittsburgh, Broncos, Washington, Atlanta. You want me to keep going?
It's not going to be
New Orleans.
It's not going to be New Orleans.
I think Atlanta's the one that's really like so confusing to figure out about, because you really don't know like what's really going on with Matt Ryan and really the situation with that. Because if you're trading Matt Ryan, you're probably hoping to get something in return. And with the Tua situation, you're definitely not getting Tua. You know, they're willing to get rid of everybody and their mom other than get rid of Tua. So I think it's going to be a weird situation with Matt Ryan.
That's a really, really great point.
Yeah,
we're going to go ahead and get back to the comments. Pig Dog, why is Olin Kreutz so beloved in this town? Didn't he once do a media boycott and punch a teammate? What is the appeal to him? I'm going to tell you what the appeal is to him, Pig Dog.
Man,
let me tell you exactly what the appeal is to him.
Fat guy to talk about a fat guy. Let's get on this. Let's get on this right now.
Look, man. Olin Kreutz was the heart and soul of that offensive line. Next to Jay Hilgenberg, he was, you know what? He was better than Jay Hilgenberg. And that's a lot to say, especially coming from that 85 team. Olin Kreutz, he played with more heart than any offensive lineman that in the 55 years God bestowed me on this earth, I have ever seen. That man was undersized, and he played with this.
Hard.
Rarely did you ever see Olin Kreutz get beat. Now, did he have an attitude? Uh-huh. A bad attitude. And do you know why he punched another teammate in the head? Go back and read your history book, because you would have as well. Mike?
Right. Listen, leave a fat guy to talk about a fat guy. I love Olin Kreutz with every ounce of my being. I really do. Undersized. I mean, he played Pro Bowl, guys, Pro Bowl center for the Chicago Bears here for years. And not only was he the center, but he was also the captain of that offensive line here for years, telling guys what to do, making sure that they were in position, making sure that they were making the right blocks. Olin Kreutz will forever be in this town a true leader and a true Chicago Bear. And that goes to say something, because there's very few of those guys. Besides the 85 Bears, there's very true Chicago Bear, 100% Chicago Bear guys. Olin Kreutz fits that mold. He breaks that mold. That's exactly what I want out of anybody on my offensive line. I want a guy with an attitude. Right. I want a guy that goes out there and kicks ass. What Olin Kreutz wasn't then is what Quentin Nelson is today.
Exactly.
What do you think, Mike Hughes?
I think it's one of those things, can you pull up the comment really quick, like exactly what he said? I think it's a great comment. After punching somebody, that is exactly what you want out of an offensive lineman. Like when I saw Tevin Jenkins slap the dog crap out of somebody, it was a Minnesota Vikings, if I'm not mistaken. I love that. He was defending Justin Fields. He wasn't taking crap. He was trying to be that guy, be that vocal leader. And I understand.
That was Jermaine Ifedi to Tevin Jenkins.
He was slapping Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah.
And I didn't agree.
And that's one of those things you want, though, is because it's people forget. And in all of my time playing, I played safety. So, obviously I was on an island. I was by myself. But when you look at the trenches, when you're in them, it's a totally different animal than just tackling a wide receiver when you're all the way out on your own little island. Like the trenches are a deadly, dangerous place. And you can't have these happy-go-lucky guys being a part of it. You need your Kyle Longs. You need your Olins. You need your Quentin Nelsons. And Quentin Nelson, I don't care what anybody says. Whenever anybody says who's your favorite player in the NFL, it's Quentin Nelson, and Quentin Nelson. Like that guy is the funnest guy to watch, and he's a generational talent. And I'm hoping Penei Sewell can kind of be that next mold. But I'm also hoping he doesn't, because he's in our division. But I definitely love that type of atmosphere with it. And I understand, there's pros and cons that come with that, because when you're 6-11 and you're having a season like that, and then you see Olin slapping the crap out of somebody, it doesn't look good. But it's the premises of he would have done that if they were winning, and he would have done that if they were losing. And to me, that's exactly what the trenches are in football.
That's really well said, man. Really, really, really Definitely. Well said. Let's get back to the other comments really quick. This Facebook user says Flores could be the new head coach. Watch. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but I just don't think they're going to back the Brinks truck to it. And I can say that about a couple of them. Christian says, I think and hope the Bears go with one of the Colts guys, Ed Dodds or Morocco Brown, who has the past experience with the Bears, with Ballard. That's, I don't, honestly, I would never profess to say I know much about these candidates that they're talking about. Mike, it's a little closer to home for you. Do you have an opinion on this?
Please designate Fat Mike or Mike Hughes.
Mike, I'm getting Fat Mike, sorry.
I'm sorry. But yeah, no, I think what it is right now with what's going on with the situation here with the Bears between Ed Dodds and Morocco Brown, I think what it boils down to is I think the Bears fucked up on Chris Ballard. And Bill Polian is a legit Colts guy. I mean, before he was here with the Bears here deciding what's going on with the Bears, he was a Colts guy. All right, so I think the Bears are kind of retreading this, like we've seen before in the past. The Bears go out and grab Adam Shaheen, they fuck up. They go out and grab Jimmy Graham. The Bears fuck up on Kevin White. They go out and grab Allen Robinson, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of what I see going on with the Colts situation. But I like Dodds and I like Morocco Brown, both of them, very underneath tutelage of of the guy that's out there right now in Chris Ballard. Did you see what Chris Ballard said the other day about that Colts team?
No.
The very first thing he said, he sat down. Before anybody even asked a question, Chris Ballard says, I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to talk about why the Jacksonville Jaguars whipped our ass. Word for word, verbatim, what he said. That's the type of GM that I want. That's the type of guy I want. And the Bears could have had that guy, but the Bears fucked it up. And they ended up going with Pace instead.
Yeah.
But that type of guy is needed for this system. That type of guy, the no nonsense. That's exactly what we need. You need to listen to a guy. You need to listen to a guy who can understand. In the first round, this guy's a generational talent. When he drafts Jonathan Taylor, when he goes out there and drafts Michael Pittman, when he goes out there and drafts somebody like Quentin Nelson.
But you're going to have to agree with me when I say this. You're going to strike out more than you're going to hit.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
I don't care what general manager you are. And, I've always been a person. I mean, can you pick? Yeah, I'm not going to take anything away from him. Ryan Pace had some good acquisitions as well. But, boy, he had some pretty questionable ones.
Right.
Adam Shaheen, as you alluded to, the whole 9 yards.
Kevin White.
But then
and
again,
Harry, not to cut you off, but I think that's where the problem is it's fine if you miss from rounds 2 to 7, but when the majority of the time you were missing in the first round, that's the biggest problem. Especially, I know it's a very different situation, and Leonard Floyd's emerged as being good now, relatively. But when you miss on Floyd, when you miss on White, when you miss on Mitch, and then you could have had George Kittle and you get Adam Shaheen, you can miss in the later rounds, and that's perfectly fine. But you can't miss on the easy ones that you can hit.
Right.
Did you know that most teams miss in their first round draft picks than they hit?
They do.
I'm just throwing that out there.
No, right.
Harry,
Top
Harry,
10, top 5, top 10, you shouldn't miss.
No,
yeah,
you
top
really
5,
shouldn't.
top 10,
and
top 15.
And I agree with you.
Miss.
And by the way, for the record, because I'm gonna say it again, it's my show. Mitch Trubisky wasn't a miss. This was a mismanagement. You have that partially correct.
Right.
He had a winning record, and he should be the greatest quarterback that ever played for the Chicago Bears because he went to the playoffs 2 times in 4 years. If anybody wants to get political or they want to get nitty-gritty, I know he's not the best quarterback, but why didn't they pay a little bit more respect and try to develop a young quarterback? Because all they're going to do is ruin another quarterback if they don't get this right. Now my blood is starting to boil because I'm going to sit here and listen to everybody tell me that it was Mitch, it was this. All they're going to do is continue to ruin quarterbacks if they don't hire a general manager first and get someone in there as the director of football operations. Now I'm starting to feel like Fat Mike without a tirade of going with a whole bunch of 4-letter curse words. This is what's really insulting and bothersome to me is because this team refuses to do it. Because the McCaskies and the Hallises, they should have sold this franchise years ago, in my opinion, because they throw around quarters like they're manhole covers in the middle of the Dan Ryan Expressway. Okay? That's why. That's why you're never going to get a head coach in Chicago that's ever had head coach experience. But you know what? Prove me wrong.
Right.
Maybe they're going to start spending some money because all they care about is this. Okay.
Right.
They're going to move out to Arlington. They're going to get the casinos and the sports book within their respective facilities. So now they're going to make millions of dollars every single year more. But I doubt it because just like any other rich bastard that's out there, it's all about greed. That's my rant. I'm not saying anything more about it. I'm really sorry about it if I offended anybody.
No, Harry,
hey, man,
you're nailing it right on the
me.
head, man. You're nailing it right on the head.
That's
all know
me.
The McCaskies
Put
and the
a director in football operations.
Right.
We're going to do this all ass backwards. We're going to hire a head coach.
And then hire a GM.
And then we're going to hire a general manager. So the general manager didn't want this coach because it wasn't his guy. Well, this coach doesn't want this general manager because they don't have the same feelings. And guess what? The GM's going to say, Justin Fields next year is no good. We need to go draft another quarterback.
Right.
And here goes the vicious cycle again.
Right.
Oh, hang on. Maybe we can get Andy Dalton.
The worst part about that, Harry, is this: is if that takes place, what you just said, if that takes place, all right, I've been talking about this with everyone. Okay, if what you said happens, which is more than likely going to happen, you're going to ruin what Justin Fields' potential is. Plain and simple.
Bro, they ruined it this year.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah,
Let's face it.
I know
they about ruined it this year because they played around a half-ass.
That's why I made a poll. Is it fair to give Justin Fields a grade on this year, on his rookie season? And it's
absolutely.
Not. I don't think it is. I don't think it is fair to give him a grade this year.
You have
Because-
to. Let's
But
call it
can
what
you?
it is. The man won 2 football games.
Right.
He shouldn't have been the starter in the first place. That was the whole conception of it.
But
Okay?
Andy Dalton
Never
should have been the fucking
starter.
starter either.
Well, hold on. Andy Dalton should have been the starter for this team this year, primarily because he was the veteran. That young man needed to sit on the bench. I knew the season was over the very first game they played, because the first drive, if anybody wants to go back and remember it, I still have it queued up if I want to show it to you. On the very first drive, Andy Dalton's driving them right downfield, no problem, like a hot knife through butter. They get down to the 15-yard line, and here comes Justin Fields making his debut.
Right.
What kind of moron do we have for management all the way down to the coaching staff to take a rookie quarterback on the road?
Matt Nagy's still calling plays, and it was the same thing. You could boil that down to any time that Cordero Patterson touched the field. You knew
Mike
that
Hughes must
Cordero
think I'm
Patterson was
crazy
going to
right
get the
now.
ball.
No, I'm completely with you. And my biggest thing, Harry and Mike, is when I define what this season was, it's the last 3 games of the season. You're looking at Nick Foles wins you a game, in Seattle. The very next week, okay, now Andy's playing. Then the following week, if Justin Fields didn't get COVID, Justin's your starter. So that's the definition of what this season was Matt Nagy just not understanding anything he was doing and simply just not caring. He was willing to shuffle anything in because he knew it was his ass that was going at the end of the season, and he didn't care which way it looked as long as it got done. So to me, and Harry, just so you know, day one, I've been a Mitchell Trubisky supporter, and even though I still to this day I will not.
Say that again. You're full screen. Go ahead. Say
I am
it.
a full-blown Mitchell Trubisky supporter. And my biggest thing, and Harry, I like this one, when Cody Parkey outscored Matt Nagy's offense in the playoffs, and we blamed Cody Parkey for that game. Let's be real here. What was the biggest problem in that game is you had a 1,000-yard rusher and only rushed him 5 to 6 times. You rushed Tariq Cohen and Mizell a total of 2 to 4 times each, and then you had Trubisky.
Wow.
You made this kid throw over 30
I never
times.
thought about it that way. Hey, guys, I don't want to be rude, but guess what? I have someone sitting in my back room who wants to come in.
Is it Peter?
It's the Peter.
It's
Ladies
the
and
Peter.
gentlemen, live from the Sports
Harry
Web.
Peter. The Harry Peter.
We got Harry and a little Peter. What's up, Peter Blake?
I got your little Peter right there.
That's your little Peter right here. And this little Peter has a Rolex. So go suck this little Peter.
Hang on.
Look at him. Look at
Bring it up.
Look at
Let's
all-
see it.
Let's see it. Bring it up. Fucking fall
There
on
it
Zoom.
is.
Bring it up closer. I want to see it close. Oh boy, that's a sexy watch with a sexy
Yes,
beard
it
and a
is.
sexy man behind it. Look at this
Thank
guy.
you. Thank you very much. I was out there kind of recruiting the next coach of the Chicago Bears, and I put my hat in there. I said I wanted Jim Harbaugh and Vic Fangio, but I tell you right now, guys, Leslie Frazier would be okay. Even a Brian Flores from the Miami
Thank you.
I'll take him.
He did a
Thank
great
you.
job with the Miami Dolphins, deserved a better opportunity than what he got. He was set up for failure. You go 1-7, then after that, you go 8-1. You have all this controversy with the owner wanting a new coach and a quarterback, and still he's able to put things together. I don't know what Stephen Ross wants besides a Harbaugh at that point. So if I'm the Chicago Bears, I would hire a Brian Flores. I think he would settle things down and gets back to that defensive mentality for the Chicago Bears. If not, it's Harbaugh and Fangio for me.
Not
I'm going
only
to throw
that,
this
people-
out there. Just give me a yes or a no. Hold on,
Go ahead.
because this is really off the charts. Do you remember when you were talking about wanting Kellen down from the Dallas Cowboys, and I said he's about a year away, Fat Mike?
Yep.
Would you take him and your choice of D coordinators that would follow, which could happen, would be either Coach Lovey or Vic Fangio? Would you take either one of them to run your defense?
I mean, yeah. I mean, of course. I would, if they're strictly defense.
No,
I don't
that's
want
it. I
them
just said
calling-
for D coordinators, not head coaches. Would you take them as D coordinators?
Yeah, of course.
Mike Hughes?
I think the thing with Lovey is the zone coverage that he's prided himself on, throughout his career isn't the same as it used to be. I think the game's very different now. So I would like to see and evaluate, what Lovey's opinion is now and where he's at when constructing a defense and what the game plan really is because I feel like that old school Lovey is not what the NFL defenses are today. And I feel like that'll get exposed. So if he's adjusted and he's willing to make changes, I'm perfectly fine with that. I think what he did in Texas was solid. What he was doing in Illinois was solid. But I just think the biggest thing is like, with Fangio, you understand more times than not that it is going to work. Lovey to me is a little outdated. But if he can prove to me that, he's with it and he's not, still stuck in 2006 to 2010, I'm on board with it.
You know what? And I'm glad you brought that up because I watch a lot of coaches taping in Houston. He has revamped and he has learned. He doesn't run as much of what they call that Tampa 2. Now he runs a hybrid 4-3, very similar to what they run in Chicago at being a 3-4. They have that personnel. Right now, if they brought in Lovie Smith with his defensive mentality, it would be that quick. I'm not kidding you. But either one of those two coaches would. And again, that's just a hypothetical. I mean, the odds of that happening would be just huge. But I assure you the Bears could afford Lovie Smith. I assure you they could because it wouldn't have cost a whole bunch of money. And everybody on this platform knows what I'm talking about. Peter, you agree with this or no?
No, I agree with that. I mean, I just think it would be an awkward situation. Lovie Smith, he doesn't come back as a head coach, a defensive coordinator. I'm not sure if that works. And you look at coaches going back to their former teams, doesn't always work out too well. Joe Gibbs comes to mind. Everybody's like, well, Joe Gibbs is going to be able to duplicate what he did for the for the Washington football team in the 80s there with the 3 Super Bowls. And it didn't necessarily happen, did it? So,
nope, it didn't.
At the end of the day, I would go with some new blood at that point. If you're going to go with Vic Fangio, fine as a defensive coordinator, good. Maybe a Brian Flores, somebody like that. But I like Harbaugh and Fangio. That combination for me would work if you can get it. If not, go with Flores and somebody else. He's a new upstart coach. He can bring that mentality. Some players out there were complaining that he's too much of a disciplinarian. I think this team needs that. And I will say this, Justin Fields should have been the starter from day one. And here's the thing, Matt Nagy should have been fired. After he ruined the development of Mitch, he should have been fired. Why do you give him another opportunity to mess up another quarterback's development? You go with a new coach. You go with Justin Fields from day one. That's how you build an NFL team at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Well, let's get back to some of the comments, and then we're going to go ahead and change subjects. Go ahead, Mike. Fat Mike.
Well, we were talking about Lovie Smith just now, and how would it be apparent to bring him back to the Chicago Bears as defensive coordinator? I just looked it up. I'm looking at pass defense 2021 in the season. They're ranked 30th. I looked at the rushing defense. They're ranked 30th. So why the hell would you bring back Lovie Smith?
Right.
Well,
why?
That's a really good question.
Defense right now. I'm looking at the pass defense right now. They've given up 27 touchdowns in the pass defense with 17 takeaways, giving up
great point. But
total a 97% rate on first downs. Okay, that's ridiculous. That they are the most. They've given up more first downs than any other team in the league.
Yeah. And down here,
let's get real here. Lovie Smith is not the answer. So these guys that are all talking about Lovie Smith, bring back
but
Lovie
I need to rebuttal to what you're saying here. Okay, a lot of these problems were, especially in Houston, this team played extremely inspired football for 3 quarters. Right. It's when the offense couldn't put the points on the board, the defense finally let go.
Which was our same problem.
If you can anybody on this platform other than young Mike tell me 3 defensive players that play for the Houston Texans? My point.
Mini Mike.
Okay, they've got they've got this. Lovey has these guys playing way above their skill set. Right. Okay, and that was the point I was trying to make. Lovie Smith is a really good football coach, extraordinary defensive mind. He is a player's coach. He's just not a good head coach.
Now, Harry,
that's just my opinion.
Harry, now here's my thing, and I mean it ties in the Lovey is, he was fired in 2012. Sean Desai did have a season with him, John Fox, Chuck Pagano, Vic Fangio, and now you see Robert Quinn emerges and has 19 sacks without Khalil Mack even being there. And I'm not one to say that, Sean Desai is amazing, but without Khalil Mack being there and with Eddie Goldman not giving a single crap about what was going on throughout the season and Akeem Hicks being in and out, it really does. And Danny Trevathan taking that huge step back in the secondary, everything. It was a mess. It was really Quinn, Roquan, Tunga, and you could say Johnson, and everyone else it was a crapshoot. And the reality of it is, though, Sean's done well. And I think, is there a conversation that Sean should stay? At least for now.
I think he was a year promoted too early. That's just my personal opinion. I can go on for an hour on why. Again, I break a lot of tapes down. I've been handicapping football for well over 30 years. I see a lot of mental mistakes on the defense, and I can't always blame the defensive players for their mishaps. It's because the alignments that the defensive coordinator is putting them in there. And one of the biggest things I've seen.
If your defense spends so much fucking time on the field, though, Harry, I mean, come on. We've all witnessed this Chicago Bear team. They're getting wiped out. I mean, they're getting wiped out by halftime. They're done.
Listen, I'm not taking anything away from Sean Desai. I don't think the Bears should ever get rid of the guy. I never said and I called for his head. I've called for two other people's heads. I like Sean Desai. But in my opinion, he was a year too soon from being elevated. Why did the Bears make him the defensive coordinator? I'm going to tell you why. The same reason why I told you about the head coach. The same reason why I told you about why they don't spend money on coaches and general managers. He was a cheap price. He originally came in, Sean Desai came in, and he was a higher Mark Trestman. Not many people know that. Okay. Right. And he stuck through the years with this team to go ahead and get that done. Look, it's plain and simple. It's how many times did I see this team have to call timeout on defense? Is because the plays weren't getting in there quick enough. And that is the sign of an inexperienced coach. But I don't want to spend all this time on this show. It is the Bears season is completely over with.
Harry, that's learnable, though. I mean,
it is.
We know what we are here, Harry. We know what we are here in Chicago. That stuff is learnable. All right. It's
comment
teachable.
of the week.
We can figure
from
that out.
Christian Shanafelt. Doug Peterson equals Matt Nagy with a Scooby-Doo villain mask on. Hashtag pass. Facebook user says Brian Dayball. Christian says, I'm surprised to not see Greg Roman, offensive coordinator, on the list of interviews yet. Change that, please, Chicago.
Yep.
Troy Palomalu says,
Moore.
Leftwich? Don't even say that.
Get the fuck out of here, Troy Palomalu. God, I love to hate you, and I hate to love you.
Why does everybody hate on Byron Leftwich? All he has had is success when he's gone with the Bucs. I mean, you had Jameis Winston. I get you had the 30 for 30, but still a highly productive offense. Last year. I get you have Tom Brady, but he's still calling the plays. And BA went to the Glazers, the ownership, and vouched for him. So to me, he's one of the highly touted prospects out there when it comes to coaches.
Listen, I'm not shitting on Byron Leftwich, all right, but I think he falls into that category of the same exact thing as Brian Daboll, where both of them haven't had any running back to work with over the last 3-4 years.
That's not true, though.
So
Mike.
both of them don't know how to use a fucking running back. And
I agree with that comment. I agree with that comment.
Chicago Bears have a bell cow here in David Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they also have a
running back.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys, in all fairness, have two really solid running backs.
Correct.
With Leonard Fournette.
Yeah. But when do they use them?
Well
everybody
Jones.
Down there in St. Pete, Harry, everybody down there in Tampa Bay is always bitching week in, week out that they don't use their fucking running backs because way too much.
That was the question that he was asking. Why? Now you just answered it in a very concise way. Peter, I agree with Mike.
Right.
That's the reason why. Because
I like Byron Leftwich. I'm not shitting on the guy. I like Byron Leftwich. I think
it's risk it, no biscuit, Peter. You and I have had this conversation.
Let's be real.
Wait a minute. That's BA's offense. If Byron Leftwich has his own offense in the way to make calls, and look, a good coach. I was talking about Bill Walsh, right, in the 80s. You know, he catered his offense.
Hold on. With Bill Polian.
Well, no, Bill. No,
that was Marv Lewis. I'm sorry, Marv Lewis. I'm sorry.
Yes,
I apologize.
Yes.
Let me retread.
The point is, he made a West Coast offense around Joe Montana. He drafted him in the 3rd round. He made a whole offense around him. So do we not think that Leftwich could actually take the components with the Chicago Bears and make those strengths, instead of, going with what he's got at this point, like thinking, well, he's a guy who throws the ball around the park. Well, yeah, because you got Tom Brady. But now you go into a different offense.
They did it with the 30 for 30 club guy, Peter. But that's the point I'm trying to make. If it wasn't his mentality, he wouldn't be part of this football team. I don't even know
where I'm at on this.
But here's the thing: if you listen,
driving me fucking nuts on this.
If you've got Justin Fields and you feel like, look, we're not going to be able to throw the ball 20 to 25 times every game because we have David Montgomery. I think Leftwich is a smart enough coach to realize that and use the components he has with the Bears and make it work.
Right.
I think that's more a BA in his ear. If there's no BA in his ear and he's running his own system,
Right.
I feel like it's going to be different.
Right.
Just my.
You know what? That's food for thought. I'll have to say that's a great point, Peter.
Did I give you something to think about?
I want to stay on this.
Definitely
Second. I
gave me
want to stay
something
on
to
this
think about.
if it's too much to ask, Mike. I want to ask you this. All right, up here in Chicago, we know this. All right, we know what we see out of Bruce Arians. We know what we see out of Todd Bowles, and we know what we see out of Byron Leftwich. We know what we see out of Brian Daboll. We know what we see out of Leslie Frazier. All right. The thing that kills me is that both you guys, Harry and Peter, you guys both make really good arguments. And the difference between the two of them is I can't even take sides. That's the problem, because you guys are both right in your own way. Yes. Okay. 100%. 100%. Yes. All right. Exactly. But Byron Leftwich has had that offense with Jameis Winston going 30 for 30 with 5,000 yards, averaging 20. I think I'm going to fuck up the number. I think it's 26.8 or 28.6 points per game in that offense down there. Okay. It's either one of the two. I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to fucking state facts. All right. But we see that. But then again, we also see the fact that he doesn't like to run the ball, because even though he has Le'Veon Bell, Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette, and the other fucking Rojo down there, they don't run the ball. That's what scares us up here in Chicago. Me, personally, a diehard Chicago Bear fan, that's what scares us. Mike, no? I mean, that scares us a little bit. We got a bell cow up here in David Montgomery that can run the fucking rock. And if we bring up Byron Leftwich, is he going to run the ball? All right. On the other side of things, we can also see the fact where it's like, well, yeah, he was also the dude that had 30 for 30 interceptions, 30 turnovers.
But I mean,
it's split. It's literally pounding that ass right in the center in the center. There's no give or take on that. That's what, and that is the main reason for me, 100%. Living on the South Side here, Mike, you live on the South Side too. All right. Living on the South Side here, being in the mix of everything. That is the main fucking reason, me personally, I don't want to see anybody from Tampa Bay up here, and I don't want to see anybody from Buffalo here. I don't want to see Brian Daboll, and I definitely don't want to fucking see Leslie Frazier's ass here in Chicago.
Right.
I'll take Todd Bowles or Leslie Frazier's right now.
And see, you can say the same thing about Todd Bowles. Well, Todd Bowles, he didn't do well with the New York Jets. Well, was that the Jets or was that Todd Bowles? Well, the proof is in the pudding at the end of the day, guys. Todd Bowles and his success with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and building that defense, to me, that also goes on your resume. So I wouldn't mind a Todd Bowles. But what I'm telling you is, look, if we're talking about a passing league, and I get it, you have David Montgomery and you should be running him more. But if we're just strictly talking about a passing league and the development of Justin Fields, I would hire a Byron Leftwich, because he's a hot commodity. He's going to be a guy that's going to be in demand from these general managers and owners. They're going to look at him and say, he's played quarterback in the league. He's been successful everywhere he's gone. He's been able to get Brady. Some people say, well, Brady was in his prime. Well, look, before he came to Tampa, he only had 24 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Chicken or the egg. Was it the weapons there or was it the offense? Byron Leftwich is still calling those plays at the end of the day, so you have to give him credit. I'm just saying, he's going to be a hot commodity. Just keep your mind open for it, because I think it's certainly a possibility. And you know what? Leftwich is not going to command a lot of money, because he is, even though he's a hot commodity, he's still someone unproven in the coaching.
He's probably going to Jacksonville or Houston. That's just my opinion.
Harry, my biggest thing is this, and I'll say this. I'm with you 100% on the Leftwich stuff. You've been in one spot for a very long time, and I'm not very sure how that's going to translate with the running game. My biggest thing, not to get off track, but Ronald Jones can't hold on to the football, and that's a big part of why they don't run the football. And that's
more pass protect. Yes.
Right. But my biggest thing is this with Brian. Brian Daboll, first of all, the Bears, the ball. I'm totally into it. I love it. I think it's a slogan. The guy looks like he eats a dick of sausage for breakfast every single day and gets Illuminati's pizza.
Say that again twice.
He looks like he wakes up in the morning, goes straight down to State Street, gets a Ditka sausage, Lou Malnati's deep dish, and he goes about his day. But here's my biggest thing is he's worked with Bill Belichick. He's worked with Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's worked with the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs. He's worked with the Buffalo Bills.
He could be a good pickup.
Right. So many different offenses. And you can say that. They're testify to it. They're all different offenses. They're defensive minded, offensive minded here and there. And I think at the very end of the day, you have to look at it and understand the difference with Matt Nagy and Brian Daboll. And this is my biggest thing is he's actually been a journeyman. He's learned things from some of the greatest to do it. One of the greatest college head coaches and arguably one of the greatest NFL coaches. He's been around different systems, whereas Matt Nagy, okay, you were with the Eagles for a little bit, which didn't do anything. And then you were with Andy Reid. And while you were with Andy, respectfully, here's where I get with Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy actually has a legitimate resume because he had an MVP season with Mahomes. He had 2 Super Bowl appearances. He had all this other stuff. Whereas with Matt Nagy, it was just, oh, yeah, I was there and I contributed. And I have this name brand to tag along it. And that's where the big difference is with Brian is Saban, Belichick, several different offensive, different type of schemes that you went with different teams. So to me, I can't speak for Byron. I like it. And again, 30 interceptions, a lot of those, I'm going to say 20, and that's being generous, were on Jameis. That's just being real. I don't care if you had LASIK. I don't care if you stubbed your toe, and I don't care if a bee stung you in the back of the head is the same time you threw the ball. You threw him. It happened, and that's not really on Byron at the end of the day. So I think Brian, to me, is the more legitimate candidate, and Byron is the more questionable one. And for Brian Flores, I'm tired of defense. I'm sick of it. I don't want to touch it. I think we need offensive minded is because it hasn't gotten us anywhere.
Young
well,
buck.
I mean, you got Matt Nagy as an
young
Skywalker.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Young Skywalker.
They're just going to rehire Matt Nagy. That's what they're going to do.
That's why I say you get the you big time name Jim Harbaugh, who's been proven to make quarterbacks. You know, you had Alex Smith, who was just a middle of the road quarterback. You got the most out of him. You got the most out of Colin Kaepernick. He knows Chicago. He's a big name. He'll put butts in the seats, and he's got a winning pedigree. That would be the winning name if the Miami Dolphins don't back up the Brinks truck. But
please, no more talk about Jim Harbaugh. I am
feeling the other thing too.
robot.
Like Jim Harbaugh, he's already started hiring up there in Michigan, they're already starting to hire assistants and assistants to assistants and defensive coordinators. So Jim Harbaugh is already filling his stat sheet up there, filling his coaching staff. He's not going anywhere.
You know what? They do this almost every year with Jim Harbaugh, or at least every 2 or 3 years. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We are done talking about the Chicago Bears. The season's over. We've allocated almost exactly 1 hour.
I mean, look, it's 12:52 Chicago sports. I mean, what are we talking about? We can talk about the Bears all night long. I'm not even from Chicago.
Yeah, but Peter, you don't understand. You don't get the pain. You don't understand the pain.
I do. Yes, I do. More than you think.
We have all this animosity and all this pain and all this depression and all this sadness. 8 winning seasons. Peter, 8 winning. Peter, 8. Peter, 8 winning seasons in 30 years. 8.
How many winning seasons have the Bucs had? I mean, I get it, they have 2 Super Bowls, but I mean, how many coaches? I mean,
okay, there you go. That makes it so much better. I mean, 8 winning seasons in 30 years, 1 Super Bowl appearance, and a shit show in it.
You had Jameis Winston, you had Josh Freeman, you had the greatness of.
Don't even fucking. Are you kidding me? You want me to go through the quarterbacks the last 30 years of the Chicago Bears?
No.
This show will be 3 hours long. Just the names of the Chicago Bears quarterbacks.
Steve DeBerg. I mean, how many quarterbacks have gone to other places?
Jesus Christ, I'm looking at
Doug Williams.
I'm looking at right now.
Mike, you froze up, buddy. You there?
He froze up, and
oh, there he is.
I'm here. I'm going all over the place.
No more. Stop.
Doug Williams won a Super Bowl with the Washington football team. You had Trent Dilfer. You had quarterbacks that had gone to other teams like Vinny Testaverde was a #1 overall pick who had like.
Hey, don't knock on my paisan, okay?
Yeah, that Paisan, he was terrible. He was terrible with the Bucs. And there's years where they would have to make the excuse of he was colorblind because he was throwing to the other team all the time. You had Chris Chandelier when he was with the Bucs. They traded
Chris Chandelier.
It was Chris Chandelier here, but when he got to the Atlanta Falcons and the Dirty Birds, he led them to a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer, don't lose the game quarterback. Great defense of the Baltimore Ravens. Yes.
You ready for this?
No.
For the last
Go for it.
30 years, since 1992,
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh, 13 starts. Peter Willis, 2 starts. Will Furr, 1 start. Jim Harbaugh, Peter Willis. Steve Walsh, Eric Kramer, Dave Craig, Eric Kramer, Rick Meyer, Eric Kramer, Steve Stenstrom, Moses Moreno, Shane Matthews, Cade McDowell, Jim Miller, Cade McDowell, Shane Matthews, Jim Miller, Shane Matthews, Jim Miller, Chris Chandler, Henry Burris, Cordell Stewart,
Henry
Chris Chandler,
Burris.
Rex Grossman,
Henry
Craig
Burris.
Frenzel, Chad Hutchinson, Jonathan Quinn, Rex Grossman, Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman, Brian Greasy, Kyle Orton, Rex Grossman, Jay Cutler, Todd Collins, Jay Cutler, Caleb Haney, Josh McCown, Jay Cutler, Jason Campbell, Jay Cutler, Josh McCown, Jay Cutler, Jimmy Clausen, Matt Barkley, Jay Cutler, Brian Hoyer, Mitchell Trubisky, Jay Cutler, Mitchell Trubisky, Mike Glennon, Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniel, Mitchell Trubisky, Chase Daniel again, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles. And then this year, finally, Justin Fields, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles. That's how many starting quarterbacks we have had over the last 30 years. And what is that? That's fucking 30? We've had 30 starting quarterbacks in 30 years. Are you shitting me?
The Bucs have never been able to develop a young quarterback ever.
It boils down to
Verdi and Chandler, Craig Erickson, Trent Dilfer. There have been quarterbacks, Casey Weldon,
Brad Johnson, Josh Freeman, yada yada yada. It goes on and goes on.
Anytime you get a young quarterback down here in Tampa, they can't develop. The only time they're usually going to do well is when they get a veteran like a Brad Johnson, like a Tom Brady. Very fortunate.
Anybody want a Monica special?
I mean, we all need to smoke a cigar at this point with the quarterback troubles. I mean, both of these teams are quarterback
The
great.
thing is this, man, with the head coaching vacancies right now being the Chicago Bears, the Minnesota Vikings, the New York Giants, the Houston Texans, the Miami Dolphins. Who else is open there? I think who else is an open candidacy?
Denver.
Right? The best team. I keep on seeing. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry. What was the other team?
That was
He
Denver.
didn't say anything.
Denver was the other team.
Mike and I are just
Denver,
sitting here going,
Denver.
this
Denver's
is
the
good.
other team. With all those teams that have the head coaching vacancies right now,
Yeah.
which team, I want to ask you three, which team is the most appealing vacancy that you can grab? Go.
To me, I'm sorry. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I say Minnesota just because they are the most complete right now offensively, and you understand that at the end of the day, Keelan Mond is most likely not going to be your guy, but you have time to figure that out, and you have 2 more years of Kirk Cousins, which is going to be a very expensive deal, and you can honestly go in there, bring in a defensive coordinator. They can figure that out. They're not too far off. They did let go of the greatest corner ever in Mike Hughes. I'm just saying, I love the guy. It was very tough to see him go. I had an attachment, but no bias. I just loved his game. But yeah, I think with Justin Jefferson, and it's insane to me that Zimmer didn't give him that Randy Moss record, but he should have broken it. Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook, I think it's the most appealing to go there because there's a lot less you need to do.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that all off our chest. Guess what today is?
How about
guys?
you, Harry? Which head coaching vacancy is the best vacancy option?
The Chicago Bears. I think they're the most ready team.
Why?
I think I think they need to draft a couple of. You want to talk about a promising quarterback? You got arguably the best rookie quarterback in the draft if he was handled correctly in Justin Fields, but that could be a disaster. But on the defensive side of the ball, they're not as far away as you think.
Right.
I think it was a first year in the system with somebody. They're going to make some changes and adjustments, but you know what? You can make an argument for 2 of those teams. You can make it for the Minnesota Vikings as well as Chicago Bears because Minnesota's defense is trash.
Yeah.
Absolute trash. But anyway, I want to get off this narrative about head coaches. Can we do that?
I want to
Go ahead,
get Pete's idea.
Peter.
I want to get Pete's idea too.
Vikings, to me, I can't make a case because their defense is trash. I'm going to make a case for the Chicago Bears. Not only Justin Fields, not only the defense being in place, but how many games, guys, did they lose in close manner because of coaching? And then on top of it, you're going to have some cap room. Chicago is still an attractive destination. And then on top of that, Aaron Rodgers looks like he's going off into the sunset. He's not going to be with the Green Bay Packers anymore. Kirk Cousins in on offense, a little bit Detroit. This is a division that if you get the right coach, Jim Harbaugh, if you get the right coach in the right time with that defense, I think you can have a major turnaround, especially with that quarterback and his development. And that's why I say, if you get the right coach, if you do the right thing in free agency, that's the reason why you put out free agency in the first place. Yeah, you don't have a lot of draft capital because of Fields, but guess what? You can fix that boo-boo by going out into free agency and maybe overpaying for some players. But some players are going to be willing to do that because they believe that Justin Fields is a hot young prospect.
That's a great point.
Great
now we're going to get to the playoffs.
points.
No rebuttals. That's it. We're
All
done.
right. I'll shut up.
I feel like he's the moderator for the debate between Biden and Trump.
I
God,
can
I
talk
feel like
about this shithole sad sack of a fucking team all night. I swear to Christ.
I want to go to comments. I want to talk about some of the
Let's
upcoming
go to
games.
comments. I want to see comments.
All
comments.
right.
I love the
Moore's
comments.
only 23. Roger Shue says he also lived in Naperville, so Naperville for life.
No,
Facebook
they're
user
expensive.
said
Fuck Naperville.
the best choice would be Harbaugh, but that would cost a lot of cash. Roger Shue says,
thank you.
Harry, check the tasteofchicago.com. My go-to for I understand. Let me tell you something. Lou Malnati's is one of my favorite
Malnati's?
pizza places.
No, come on. Roger
Be
Shue,
careful.
what are
They
you
might be
doing, bro?
sponsoring my show. They're great, aren't they?
I love Roger Shue,
Facebook.
but come on. I like Lou Mal's, but come on, bro.
A lot of us Cubby fans out here are there are a lot of Cubby fans out here, Mr. Greek. I am very, very aware of that. Pig Dog Video 2001. Is there any value to the Eagles +8? Harry, do you think that you can keep the game close? Hey, Pig Dog. Finally, we got someone asking the Greek a question about some handicapping. I'm going to answer that for you in a little while when it's time for it. And it's coming up here in just a few minutes. Facebook user says, come on, Fat Mike. My parents live in Tampa and I'm going someday. Ben Cornett. Hey, Ben, thanks for tuning in. What's up, Dirty Harry? We got a Dirty Harry and a little Peter sitting over here. You know how it works.
Yeah,
Troy
I
Polamalu.
This fucking guy, Troy Polamalu. I love to hate this guy and I hate to love this guy. I love this fucking guy.
I took the train to the north side, saw guys wearing leggings and doing TikToks. That's a typical Cub fan right there. Pig Dog says Mike North. You're absolutely correct. Pig Dog says it's Pappy. Ben Cornett says, do it, Harry. Name him. Name him. Name him. We're going to go ahead and save some of these for a little bit later. Again, if you have a question or a comment, we have open phone lines. We're very interactive. 727-320-5866. It's 727-320-5866. It's almost 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. We've been on for a little bit over an hour. We haven't even talked about any of the games. I appreciate that everybody that's been tuning in. I'm your host, Harry the Greek, alongside with my co-host, Mr. Peter Blake, newest member of our team, Mr. Mike Hughes, and Fat Mike himself. Go ahead and giving us his ripping comments. As always, we love it.
I love Fat Mike.
All right, guys, we're going to do a little thing called Around the Horn here. We didn't steal it from anybody.
Here we go.
And I am going to go ahead and take the floor, and we're going to start talking about some of these games because I'll tell you what, guys, there are some juicy games to bet on this week. We got the Raiders going to the Bengals. This line has actually moved from 7 points to 6.5 to 5.5 points with Cincinnati, and the total's 48.5. Peter, take off, buddy. Who do you like and why?
I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals. They have been the story of the season with Joe Burrow, and I get it. They're a young team. The Raiders do have somewhat of a defense, but I'm just not buying the Raiders at this point. The Bengals absolutely clobbered them this year, 32-13 on the road. It's a young, exciting team. I like the Bengals in this, and I think it's going to be a close game, but I still like the Bengals, and I like the over.
Perfect. Mike?
Yeah, I'm going over with the Bengals. And it's going to be the most childish answer, but Jamar Chase won me a fantasy football championship with 55 points in a week, so I'm riding with them to all the way to the Super Bowl. So I'm rocking with the Bengals, no question.
Absolutely. Fat Mike.
I really really love the Bengals in this game. But then again, all year, the Bengals have ripped my heart out. But if it gun to my temple, I'm taking the Bengals and the over.
Well, you know what? That's why I make the big bucks, ladies and gentlemen. It's my second best pick of the week. You don't even need the points. You take the Raiders on the money line, and let me give you my reasons. Let me give you my reasons, folks. They have no offensive line right now in Cincinnati. Defense, they're a mess. Jacobs is playing for a contract year. He's got 9 kids to feed, 8 different mothers, but who's talking? Okay. Tight ends, questionable at this time. My boy's playing great at the QB position at Carr. Defensively, they're going to get after my little Bayou buddy. Look, the sexy pick is to take the big offense. They're a year away. This team will be in the Super Bowl, I predict, in the next 2 years. It's just not this year. I absolutely love the Raiders on the money line. Next game.
Wow.
The next game is the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. Now, this game has changed so many different ways, and the money keeps going towards the underdogs, ladies and gentlemen. New England's catching 4.5 points at Buffalo. The total's 44 points. I'm going to go ahead and give a little dissertation on this game, and then I'm going to let everybody go ahead and respond. After Week 11 and Week 12, prior to the season starting, the Buffalo Bills, a lot of people didn't know this, had one of the hardest strengths of schedules in the entire National Football League. But after Week 11, in their first 11 games that they played, it ended up being the easiest. Not by a little, by a lot. Why are they 4.5 and 5-point favorites in this game against the New England Patriots, against the godfather of all coaches in the National Football League, who's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? What does he do best when he plays opposing teams, especially on his defense? They take away your best player. You've got a rookie quarterback.
Exactly.
I'm going to give my pick out at the very end. Fat Mike, who do you like and why?
Exactly what you just said. I like the Pats with the 4.5. I really do like that. That's what I would be betting all day, every day from here on out. If you can get that where it's at, if it's still staying at 4.5, I am taking the Pats plus the 4.5 because that's where it's at. This is going to be a very close game.
Mike Hughes.
You know, as much as I'd love Dable to be off of the season and getting his little Bears interviews going and hopefully getting his Mike Dicker sausage, you know, downtown, I'd love that. But I'm going to go with the Bills. I'm going to go with the under, and I think that defense has just been a monster this year, and they're talking a lot about the weather this weekend, and it's very questionable. And we see
which defense are you referring to, Mr. Hughes?
The Bills.
The Bills defense.
I'm solid. I'm sold on that Bills defense. I do think they are going to step up. Obviously, they have had a couple moments this year where they look skeptical, but at the same time, you know, you could say the same thing about New England. The problem is, I think, you know, New England can run it down your throat, but the Bills can stop it. They have a very good run defense. And the biggest thing to me is Josh Allen. And that's what it's going to predicate to is, I think in this moment, I would give it to Josh Allen more than Mac Jones, is because the last time I saw Mac Jones in a game where weather bothered him, he threw the ball 3 times, where I feel like, you know, you still have Diggs, you still have all these other guys.
Great point.
I'm going to take the under.
Great point. You know, I kind of like that. Peter Blake, who do you like and why?
Yeah, I'm going with what Mike said also, because the last time you had a weather situation, Mac Jones only threw the ball 3 times. And look, he has not played well lately. In fact, I think defensive coordinators are starting to pick up on his tendencies. On top of it, the Bills won the division. That's the reason why I like the Bills. The momentum, like you always talk about here, the Mo, Josh Allen, this is a get-over game. The Buffalo Bills win one in close fashion.
Great opinions. And I actually like all 3 of them. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go to Texas, and Texas means we're going to El Paso. And let me tell you why. Because of the reasons that everybody has given, and including the reasons that I gave, I kind of like the under as well. But what's stopping Bill Belichick from only having to stop one thing? Buffalo doesn't run the football. So that means they have to stop Diggs. You take your best player away. Well, who else you got left to go? That's why you should bet the under, but I'm not giving that pick. You can listen to everybody else that's on the panel here. The Greek is definitely not picking this game, but if you back me in the corner, I'd have to play New England, but I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pull.
Right.
I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I just can't do it. I value money too much. There in dog racing, there's 15, 16 races in a card.
Harry, real quick, I do just want to throw out there, like we have seen in the last few weeks, and I do understand it was against Atlanta and it was against the Jets, but we saw Devin Singletary go 19 attempts, 88 yards, 23 attempts, 110 yards. Then you see him 12 attempts, 22 attempts. The last 4 weeks, they've been running the football. So I think they're not predicating themselves on it, but they definitely are running the football to an effective rate.
And again, they had the easiest schedule in the National Football League after they can't help it. They can only play who's on their who they playing against. Okay, and there were games that they should have taken care of and they didn't. But that's for another time. You bring up some really, really good points, Mike. Fat Mike, you are so right about this young man, Mr. Mike Hughes. His knowledge is really good. Don't let your head get too big here, because I'll have Peter step on it like a bug.
I'm
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm a Cubs fan, right? It never gets too big.
And by the way, I grew up as a Cubs fan too, so just saying that.
Every time my head gets a little big, hey, this is the year. Bam, your heart's crushed.
Bam.
You get shit on your chest, like Odell.
Being a Bucs fan too.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next game. We're going to talk about the Sunday games, and we're not going to talk about the Eagles at the Buccaneers yet. We're going to talk about the San Francisco 49ers at the Dallas Cowboys. Interesting game, guys. Interesting game. I'll tell you what, the Rams kind of ripped my heart out on that game, primarily because I had a lot of money betting that game. I was sitting on my chair just rocking back and forth going, oh, come to daddy, baby.
I told you.
This is going to be
it would.
Yeah. Listen, for the guy that didn't have $1 on the game, okay? And I had quite a few thousand coming back to me going, I told you. You know what I felt like doing to you, Peter? Okay. You're lucky it's a family show. I'm not going to tell you what it was. But anyway. No, it's okay, buddy. It's okay.
It's not a family show when I'm on here. It's not a family show when I'm on here.
We're going to start with Mike Hughes. Mike, who do you like and why? San Francisco is getting 3 points at Dallas. The total's 51.
I love San Francisco, and Fat Mike and I have talked about it, and I've talked about it on my podcast a few times, and it's something to where I don't think Kyle Shanahan's, benching Trey Lance for, the reason of just grooming him. I think he understands that this kid's been performing at practice. There's been moments where he's looked good during games in the small portion size that he has. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play this game, and he's going to start this game because obviously they went to a Super Bowl with him just a couple years ago. But I think we are going to see a lot of wildcat plays and plays designed around Trey Lance that no one's going to be ready for and nobody's going to be prepared for because they haven't seen enough of Trey to get an understanding of what that would look like. I think as an offensive coordinator, you have to look at it from Kyle Shanahan's perspective, and you have to say, I have the number 3 overall pick right here. He's been able to sit all year. He's got some playing time. He's been flourishing in practice as of late. And you have to predicate yourselves on that, especially when you have someone like Diggs and you can put him on the other side of Parsons and you can do whatever you want to do, because I'm not really concerned about Lawrence and that toe issue. So I really do look at it like that. And I think they have all the capitalism to just go out there and flourish. And I think they're going to take their opportunities. And Debo against Diggs, I'm sorry. As long as Jimmy doesn't throw it 45 times, this kid's not getting an interception on Debo.
Hold that thought, okay? Because I do love your opinion on it, but I'm going to make a couple of people in this room go,
Go for
Fat
it.
Mike?
Listen, this game is it's a very, very tough game right now with the way Dallas defense is playing, with the way Dallas offense is playing. But I'm telling you right now, there is no scarier team in the playoffs right now as we speak than the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers can fuck up this entire playoff.
Well, who do you like?
Really, by coming in here and whooping the shit out of the Dallas Cowboys. And I really believe that the reason why is because they control the line of scrimmage and they control the time of possession any way they can. Running the ball, passing the ball. You got Debo Samuel, 15 fucking running backs that Kyle Shanahan trots out there. Right now they're sitting at the San Francisco 49ers are getting +3. I'm taking San Francisco 49ers on the money line in this game. That's where I'm sitting at.
Good opinion,
100%.
Peter.
I really love the 49ers in this game.
Perfect. Peter?
Yeah, I love the 49ers too. They have all the components that Fat Mike is talking about. You have a running game. You can control the line of scrimmage, and you can also get after the quarterback. And I'm not sure the Dallas Cowboys have seen that type of pass rush. Did you see Matt Stafford under siege last week? Oh, yeah, I did. Greg Kittle said it best. It's a body bag game. And to me, it's the same type of game. It's going to be a body bag game for the Dallas Cowboys because, once again, they're going to be dead on arrival. I like the San Francisco 49ers in this game.
All right, I need my brains to work for me. How many games did Jimmy Garoppolo miss this year, roughly?
I think 3 or 4.
Okay. And when you think about the San Francisco 49ers, what are the two things you think about most with San Francisco? What do they do exceptionally well?
Running.
Run the ball, play defense.
Mm-hmm.
So if I
Put
told
that
you that
pussy
the
down,
San
Harry.
Francisco,
Put that pussy down.
if I told you that the 49ers and Jimmy Garoppolo has thrown for 3,800 yards this year and has missed how many games? Anybody?
3 or 4 about.
Yeah.
Okay. And he has 20 TDs. Would you say that's strictly a running team?
No.
No, I
No.
would say they have weapons on that.
They are a sneaky offensive passing team. Kyle Shanahan is an absolute genius when it comes to running an offense. I
You're
love the zone
goddamn
blocking.
right.
I love the zone blocking schemes that he brings forward. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys here for a little bit, guys. Dak Prescott's thrown for 4,400 yards. He's having an incredible season, 37 TDs and 10 interceptions. Okay. Well, the offense has to go somewhere. Okay. And they decided it's going to go to the offensive side of it in regards to passing. Running, everybody's been knocking on Ezekiel Elliott. Look, I just watched the last 4 games that I watched him play with. He's in a system that doesn't fit him. There's no reason to have Pollard running the ball as much as they are. Neither one of these two running backs are getting enough touches. Let me go ahead and really reiterate this. This team should be a run-first team to set up the pass.
Correct.
Okay? And they're not. It's the other way around. They're trying to emulate what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did last year and currently doing this year, except they do run the ball a little bit more in Dallas than they do in Tampa, but not nearly enough of what they should. Now, on the defensive side of the game, what I have learned, you need more than 2 people to play defense. Let me tell you something. I absolutely love Micah Parsons as a running back, but I'm going to tell you where he lacks it. He lacks
Linebacker.
He lacks a little bit of coverage skills, but most linebackers too. They do. And he's not all that great against the run. I've watched it's if the guards get their hands up on him, it's over, especially with a team that runs a lot of zone blocking. I am not leaning towards San Francisco. I love San Francisco in this game on the money line for those reasons. And I'm going to give you a couple of other little stats. Trevon Diggs has given up more yards than any defensive back in the National Football League. He leads the league in interceptions, so that's telling me he's the Jameis Winston of DBs because he either given up a pick 6 or he's getting a pick 6.
Right.
I'm sorry, he's not giving up. He's either giving up 6 or he's getting 6. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Look, Dallas is.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That offense is scary.
Yeah.
And if they put it together, running the football, they will handle the 49er game.
But the
This is
problem
Mike
is,
McCarthy, guys.
yes, and they can't do it because Ezekiel Elliott has lost a step. In fact, Tony Pollard should be the starting running back there.
I don't believe that, though, Peter.
I'm
I don't
telling you,
believe
ever
that.
Since Zeke has gotten that big-time contract, his yards per carry have decreased every year.
Look, man, he's got 1,000 yards on 237 attempts. That's extraordinary. He has 10 touchdowns. However, he has lacked on his receptions. He's been targeted 67 times and caught 47 passes. Well, this is where Pollard has excelled. They've thrown it 46 times and he's only dropped 7 passes. Now, that is a good receiving type of running back, but you know what? Pollard may not be that guy that needs the ball 25 times and 25 touches a game, Peter. That's where Ezekiel Elliott needs it. The same way as a Leonard Fournette or even a Ronald Jones, if I may go ahead and bring some Tampa Bay Buccaneer players for you to try to give some comparisons.
Sure.
They need, when you have a bell cow, you want to talk about a bell cow? Look, I am not an Ezekiel Elliott fan, but I got to give credit where credit's due. He didn't turn into a pile of dog shit overnight. I'm sorry. It just didn't happen. It's from being a lack of usage and the amount of play calling that they're doing. They got some of the biggest offensive linemen in the entire National Football League, and they just refuse to run the football. They want to be flashy. Mike McCarthy still thinks he's in Green Bay coaching 2 other quarterbacks. I'm sorry, Dak Prescott is not Aaron Rodgers, and he's not Brett Favre. Simple as that. Sorry, he just isn't. That's just my opinion. That's the game I'm going to give. I love San Francisco on the money line, and it looks like it's a clean sweep here. I do think that the Dallas Cowboys, unfortunately, are going to be a one and done. And what else is new? And then they're going to be, Super Bowl favorites next year to start the season, just like they were every year. Back in the 90s, Mr. Hughes, you didn't know this, but back in the 90s, the Dallas Cowboys had not 1 but 2 planes when they had a road game. Can you tell me why they had 2 planes, Mike Hughes? Do you know why or no?
I'm gonna just say Jerry Jones and leave it at that.
No. It was actually pretty cool. Mike's already starting to laugh because he knows where this is going. The Dallas Cowboys used to travel with 2 planes on a road game because they had the players and all the personnel on one, and the probation officers were on the other plane.
Yeah,
he didn't get that one.
Oh,
well, we definitely all got it with the criminals.
Yeah, you're not lying.
No, but it's kind of funny. But and also talking about that game, let's talk about their first 6 games. I mean, I'm not trying to beat up on Dallas, but let's call it like it is. They lost a heartbreaker to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which I thought the Bucs were just going to wipe them off the face of the earth, and they didn't. They gave Tampa everything they could handle, and Tampa turned the ball over so many times and still won the game. That's to show you how bad that Dallas's defense was. They beat the Chargers, which was the only good team at the time in their first 6 games of their schedule. Then they whipped up on Philly by 20, the Panthers by 8, the Giants by 24, and then they beat the Patriots by 6. So let's talk about the games they lost because they were 12-5. How can records be this deceiving? I'll tell you how. They lost to Tampa Bay, Denver, Kansas City, the Raiders, and Arizona. They haven't beaten a team over 500. I mean, technically. I mean, a legitimate team over 500. Other than the Philadelphia Eagles, when they played them at the end of the season and they rested all their starters. Just let that sink in for a second. That's why the Dallas Cowboys are only a 3-point favorite, because Vegas is pretty smart.
Right.
Any comments, or can we move on to the next game?
One last point, and it's I get a lot of heat for it, but I always say it, Diggs is just like his brother. I think he's a better wide receiver than he is a corner. I played nickel, I played safety. When I watch this guy cover you, what he really does is he stops, he watches you running your route, and then he runs alongside you. He's not really sticking on you like glue. He's not really being there. He's not being in that zone, in that coverage. He's really a better wide receiver. Now you see him running the same route as the wide receiver, and he just is automatically ready to just catch the ball. He's not trying to deflect it. He's not trying to punch it out. He's not trying to do anything like that. He doesn't care about just, the second down, the third down, fourth down, whatever it may be. He cares about catching the football. And I think that's honestly what's going to burn them in this playoff game is I'm betting against Diggs.
Yep. No, that's very, very good. Now we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This line started out at Tampa -10. It's now Friday, and this line has done everything I thought it was going to do. It has dropped all the way down to Tampa only being -8. There's been a lot of money going on Philadelphia.
Well, right now up here, Harry, I don't mean to cut you off. Right now up here in the PointsBet Sportsbook up here in Chicago, it's at 8.5.
8.5. Well, it's going to vary by 0.5 point depending on what book you're talking about, but it's down as low as 8.5. Don't be surprised this game goes to 7.5 and 7. This very well could possibly do it. According to the trend, I think the line's going to end up going back to 9 or 10 points. Okay. And I'm going to let Peter go ahead and start first because I know the way he feels about them Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's a lot of points, Peter. Which way are you going to bet and why?
Yeah, it's a lot of points at this end of the day. Of course, the Bucs win the first matchup 28-22, a little bit closer than it should have been. But you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I actually think they're better, and this is why. Don't look at the offensive weapons. Of course, they're missing Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown. Look on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to have JPP back, Shaq Barrett, and Levante David, which will help their rushing defense.
Levante David may not play. They're undecided.
Okay, well, again, they're going to be better off on the defense. And then with all that being said, they're going to have Leonard Fournette. I think the Bucs will revert back to their old game plan. This may be a close game, but I'm going to take Tom Brady in the postseason and that Tampa Bay Buccaneer team versus the Philadelphia Eagles, which, by the way, you want to talk about teams not being playoff caliber ones. The Philadelphia Eagles this year, 0-6 versus playoff teams. Make it a lucky 0-7 against the Bucs on Sunday.
Absolutely. Mike Hughes?
I mean, yeah, I can't say anything other than it's the Bucs, and that's just the reality of it. Is I'm a Jalen Hurts supporter. I believe that this kid is a couple years away, and I say that kindly if everything goes well. I just don't see it right now with Philly on either side of the ball on how they can, magnetize this moment and really go into it like they did in 2017, pardon me, with Nick Foles. It's not that same team. It's not even close to being that same team. The only difference is this time they have a legitimate wide receiver in Smith, but other than that, I just don't see it. So I don't think, and especially with Miles Sanders, they're talking about, oh, this kid's hand is broken, but he's still going to play. And even when his hand wasn't broken, he still wasn't effective. So they have no run game. They're skeptical of the passing. And I think like all the reasons you guys mentioned, with Barrett and all of them coming back, they're just going to feast.
Okay, good point, Mike.
To bounce off this, I really like. I'm gonna say my go getter from the get-go. I really like the Eagles plus the 8.5. You can get them there. If you get them higher than that, I really like that even more. The way that the Tampa Bay defense has been kind of struggling and injured and under COVID, all that other good stuff, I really like the way that this Eagle team can get 8.5. Now, bouncing back to Mike, when he says there's no run game with the Philadelphia Eagles, there is a run game. That run game is your quarterback, is Jalen Hurts. He's been killing it all year, running up and down the field, killing it all up and down the NFC East, all up and down the NFC, regardless. I really like the Eagles to cover right now, sitting right now at 8.5. I really like it. If it gets higher, I like it even more.
Yeah, my thing is just more of like we keep that energy about Brian DeBall and the Buffalo Bills about not having a run game outside of Josh Allen. So I have to look at it as the same thing with the Eagles. Is that's fine, but defenses are definitely going to prepare solely for Hurts, and that's just about it.
Right? No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
This Philadelphia Eagle team, guys, is a very scary team.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you why. They are also a team that's playing way above their means. You know what this game reminds me of, ladies and gentlemen? This reminds me of last year's Super Bowl run for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they ended up having to go to the Washington football team on the road. This is the same
week one of the playoffs, mind you. Week one of the playoffs.
That's right. And it's the same type of game. The difference is this team is now going to play in their own home stadium. The question's supposed to be this. Why isn't this game minus 12 to 14 points? I'm going to tell you why. What is the strongest part of Tampa's defense? Would you say it's the pass defense or the run defense? My fat Mike.
D-line. D-line is the
so it's against the run,
it.
Correct? You think statistically they would be against the run? Mike Hughes, how about 100%. You?
Yeah, I think it's the trenches. I think that's where you would have to go with it.
Peter Blake?
Yeah, it's against the run. That's their staple.
Okay, they're number 3 in the National Football League against the run. But let me dig a little bit deeper because everybody knows what I think about statistics. They're about as good as what you wipe your ass with after taking a dump. Okay? Nobody plans on running the football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they're trying to get into a shootout. But here's a stat for you that a lot of people don't know. Did you realize that running through the tackles, this team is 3rd in the NFL?
Right.
But they're 30th in the NFL on defense when you run outside the tackles. Right. And this is where Philadelphia excels at, especially with a mobile quarterback. I don't care that Levante David and Shaq Barrett, that is something you cannot ignore, is that they lack so bad on the outsides.
Right.
And that goes back into what Todd Bowles does. And this is why it's so bad to run 2 high safeties in the game because they're daring you to run the football. Be careful, Tampa. You don't want to do this against this team. They ran for 2,800 yards on the ground. I'm making a compelling argument for the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing.
The Philadelphia Eagles are going to be winning this ball game at halftime,
Right.
covering if not winning. But Tampa beats the brakes off this team in the second half.
Exactly.
Because they're not gonna know what's gonna happen.
That's
okay.
That's what
I mean,
Buffalo
let's just
is.
be real. Okay. I'm gonna give you a first half bet. If you put me in a corner, you got to take Philly plus the points, but I just don't see it. It just depends on how many points Philadelphia scores in this first half.
Right.
But I will give you this. The total's 45.5. This game is supposed to be over 50 points. But weather's going to have something to do with it in this game. It's going to get chilly. It's going to get windy. And when I say chilly, guys, I'm talking in the 50s, okay? But 50 degrees here in
It's supposed
Florida.
to be rainy too.
Well, hold on. 50 degrees in Florida with heavy winds and that Gulf breeze coming across is only nice in the summertime, not in the wintertime, okay? That wet cold is nasty. Tom Brady knows a little bit about playing in the inclement weather, and so does Philadelphia. But that's going to slow your field down. That's going to stop them passes going left and right. If Tampa runs the football, they're going to have tremendous success off of this team. But they can't help themselves, okay? They just can't help themselves. They want to throw the ball deep, and Philadelphia does rush the passer pretty well. They can stop the run pretty decent, but I don't know how. Look, Philadelphia is going to give them everything they can handle in the first half. I just think Tampa's just going to outcoach them, and they're going to outclass them in the second half, and it wouldn't surprise me. But if you back me in a quarter, take Philadelphia. I'd rather go to Texas. But again, 45.5. If you like Tampa, you play under. If you like Philadelphia, you play the over. I hope that helps you. I don't know what else to say in there. I'm sorry I'm playing both sides of the fence. I'm not really going to have a very big position in this game. The next game, Pittsburgh Steelers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Line started out at 14. Why the line's not 16 or 17, I have no idea. Kansas City's only 12.5 and the total's 46. Fact, Mike, quickly, who and why?
Listen, I love this game, and as much as I would like to see the Steelers cover, it's not going to happen. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 15. If you're going to adjust your bet, adjust the bet by the points. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 15. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, minus
Mike
15.
Hughes.
Yeah, minus 15.
Yeah, I second that. I go plus 15 on it. Unless you're bringing AB and Le'Veon Bell on 10-day contracts, I don't see Big Ben having any type of success with this. And you're gonna have to have the Big Ben of old as well. So I'm definitely not taking the Steelers.
Peter Blake.
Yeah, the Big Ben of old is, at the end of the day, he's just old, okay? It's a great story for the Steelers to make the playoffs, but they are no way, shape, form going to be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to blow this team out. They're going to blow their doors out. I like Kansas City big in this game.
I'm going to tell you this much right now. I don't have Kansas City scoring, not Kansas City. I don't have the Pittsburgh Steelers scoring more than 10 points in this game. I think Kansas City covers this game very, very easily, and I don't think they're going to be doing it on offense. I got Big Ben throwing the ball in picks maybe twice, and they're going to turn the ball over twice, and it's going to give Kansas City very short fields. If you can get some prop bets inside of there, play the over on Big Ben actually throwing some picks. I think Kansas City is going to win this game, and they're not going to have to pass the ball that much. I think their defense is going to do the job because this is what's made Kansas City as strong as they are this year. And it's not because of their offense. It's because of what that defense is finally starting to do. They get that offense clicking and they're not coughing the ball up. This could be a very scary team in the AFC. But that's my pick. It's a clean sweep. I'm not giving up 15 points. I don't ever give more points. Ever, 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 ever. 12.5 is plenty. Trust me on that. But lay the 12.5 in them. Last but not least, you got the Arizona Cardinals at the Rams. The Rams are -4. This line has not moved. Totals 49.5. Peter Blake, what do you like and why?
Yeah, I got to go with the Rams. I mean, even though I'm not a believer in Matt Stafford in this defense because they blow a 17-0 lead to the San Francisco 49ers, Arizona doesn't do it for me either. They just got beat by the Seattle Seahawks. So try to figure the Arizona Cardinals out. I can't. I'm going to go with the Rams in a close one once again.
Mike Hughes.
Yeah, I completely agree. And the biggest thing for me is I don't think he's going to have the biggest impact in the game, but him being there, his presence and Cam Akers being full send, like we're not BSing it anymore. It's not just get your feet wet. I think that's going to take a lot of pressure off Matthew Stafford, and it's the same problem with Josh Allen. It's the same problem with a lot of other quarterbacks in this league that we've already talked about, especially Jalen Hurts, is that they're one-dimensional offense. And now that Cam Akers is there, not that he's going to be the biggest threat, but you definitely have to prepare for that as a defense, that it is a possibility that him, Michelle, and Henderson can get going. So I'm going to take the Rams in this one because I think it's going to take pressure off of Stafford.
Really good points. Fat Mike?
I'm taking the Cardinals on the money line. I think the Cardinals have the Rams number all day, every single day. I like Kyler Murray in this matchup. I like what the Cardinals defense has been bringing to the table over the last couple of weeks. And I just, Kyler Murray, it's now his time to step up. It's his now time. Right now is going to make or break Kyler Murray. You're either going to look at him like, okay, well, it's Kyler Murray, or it's going to be like, oh my God, it's Kyler Murray. And I think Kyler Murray steps up this coming up weekend and beats the brakes off the Rams. I'm taking the Cardinals on the money line.
Wow, that's a very, very, very strong pick. Totally opposite where I'm going to go to on this. This is my game of the week. Lay the 4 points. This is the best team in the NFC. It's the best team in the National Football League. They just haven't shown it yet. If this team can decide they're going to go ahead and play defense, I don't know, maybe come out of your shell. I could be totally wrong with this. I doubt it. I know what I'm watching. Matthew Stafford has not played the way he should be. They need to commit a little bit more to the run game. But I'm going to give you some prop bets. You're going to get 2 picks from Kyler Murray. He's going to get sacked for more than 4 times in that game. They are going to cough that ball over. The Arizona Cardinals are not the team that the Rams are. Arizona loses this game. I predicted they wouldn't win another game 4 games ago, and they ended up squeaking one out. And just a long story short, this is the top game of the week for betting purposes. The total's 49.5 points. Stay away from that. Stay away from the over-under in that game if you like the Rams. If you have to push me into a corner, play the under because Kyler Murray's not going to know what hit him in this game. And those are the games in the National Football League for the first round of the NFL playoffs. Mr. Fat Mike.
Can I do one thing? Let's recap all of our picks. Let's recap everything. Harry, you started absolutely. Off. You tell who, what, and when.
Again, I was going to go over that a little later, but that's fine. What do you want to recap, sir? The games?
Let's recap it. Peter, what are your picks for the week? All down the line.
Raiders, Cincy, Peter.
Well, I picked Cincy.
Perfect. Mike.
Cincy.
Mike.
I got the Bengals in the over.
Okay, and I have the Raiders on the money line.
I love that pick, and I hate it at the same time.
Yep. New England and Buffalo. Mike Hughes.
Buffalo.
Peter.
Buffalo in the under.
Fat Mike.
I got Pats plus the 4.5.
Minus 4.5.
Minus 4.5. Yeah, minus 4.5.
The Greek went to Texas in this game. I can't give that pick out. Philadelphia, Tampa Bay.
When you say
that. Fat Mike.
Go ahead.
Fat Mike. I'm taking the Eagles plus the 8.5.
Okay. Mike Hughes.
Tampa without a doubt.
Tampa minus 8.5. Peter.
Tampa.
I'm going to push myself in the corner. I'm going to have to take Philly plus the 8.5 because that was another game that I went to Texas with. Obviously, we're keeping score. I still think Tampa's going to win the game, but they're going to outscore them in the second half. San Francisco at Dallas. Peter.
San Francisco.
Mike Hughes.
San Francisco.
Fat Mike.
San Francisco money line.
San Francisco money line for me as well. Pittsburgh at Kansas City. Kansas City minus 12.5. Fat Mike.
I got the Chiefs minus 15.
Perfect. Mike Hughes.
I got the Chiefs.
Peter Blake.
Kansas City.
Sounds good. Arizona at the Rams. Fat Mike.
I got Arizona Cardinals on the money line.
Perfect. Mike Hughes.
I'll take the Rams. Give me Stafford.
And minus the 4. Peter Blake.
Rams in a close one.
Perfect. Well, I guess we just recapped them all, Mike.
Yeah, that was nice. I liked how that went. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool.
It's good.
Mike Hughes, I appreciate you showing up on the show. I'm going to go ahead and give you a second. I'm going to make you full screen. Tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, you can find me Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever at Mike on the Mic podcast. It's everything Chicago related for the most part, unless it's Antonio Brown type news. We really don't cover it, but you can also find me on the ASAP Network, All Sports, All Plays Network. I've become the president of the ASAP Plus Network. We have an all-women show over there. They're doing amazing things. We're getting diverse.
Hold on. The ASAP Network, they just had a show on there with Ruth Kagayas, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ruth the Truth.
Yeah.
I seen that show. Haven't you seen it, Peter?
Yeah, I think I've seen it before. Yeah, good job.
Yeah.
No, I think I've seen that as well. Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you're fine. That was really it. The all women show. They're really doing their thing, and I'm really proud of them. And they're taking the stream by storm. And I'm really honored to be here. I appreciate joining 1252, and I can't wait to keep going.
Perfect. Hey, you have yourself a great one. Welcome to the team, brother. You take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All righty, Fat Mike. Tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
You just find me here.
Where?
Just find me here. I'm not gonna do this. You can just find me here. I'm always just floating around. Listen, I'm Fat Mike. I cover a lot of space. Listen, my name doesn't supersede me. All right, I cover a lot of space. You find me on Twitter at Fat Mike Chicago. Find me on 1252 all day, every day. I'm always there, sitting there fucking around, doing
That's
my
my
thing.
boy.
But the real heavy hitters of this entire thing, Harry the Greek and Peter Blake. That's where it boils down to, guys. I'm shaking my pen at you. You guys, I tell you.
Yeah,
you guys are bringing stuff.
Hey,
you guys are bringing stuff. You guys are bringing good stuff.
Hey,
Mr.
remember this?
Rolex here sitting in a sport coat. Look at this fucking guy. Good grief. Sport coat, Rolex, nice knit beard. Look at this guy. Sweet Pete.
He's the guy. Mike, thank you so much for coming on tonight. You've been awesome, my brother.
Thank you for having me, guys. I really do appreciate you. Make sure you guys check in on, again, really quick, make sure you guys check in on 1252 Sports Chicago. You guys find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook, find us everywhere. Harry, great show. And congratulations, my friend. You had a great day today, and I'm really proud of you. I really, really am. Peter Blake, proud of you too, man. You guys are kicking ass over there at doing what you guys are doing at the Sports Web. I'm really proud of you guys. I love the both of you like family. You guys are great. I love you guys, and I cannot wait until next week's episode to recap all this stuff. You
It's
guys,
gonna be fun.
until then, take care, and I'll see you guys later. It's time for me to watch Family Guy and have another
Love
drink.
you, brother. Appreciate
Take care,
it.
man.
Take
Love
care.
you, man. See you, brother.
All right, see you.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
But we got some comments to go through and everything else, man. I
Well,
love
let's
that
do
new
it.
guy, Mike. I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, that new guy, Mike, he's awesome. Really, really
Very
good guy.
knowledgeable. Absolutely.
Christian says, as far, and I'm far from a Trubisky truther. This is more so just an indictment on Nagy. The way the article was laid out, just not the way you go about business. I think I already read that one. Facebook user says, Trubisky will be a backup, LOL. I don't think so, man. He's going to get his opportunity.
Yeah.
Facebook user says, Carla Alacoran. Hi,
Okay.
Carla. Alex Loosemore. What's up, Alex? Thanks for tuning in, brother. Olin Kreutz is one of my favorites. Absolutely. Alex also says every offensive line needs one of those nasty dudes, without question. Ben Cornett says, can Olin Kreutz please punch Antonio Brown just for the heck of it? You know what? I would fire them cannons again, brother.
Yes, I'm going to fire it. That's a high-powered rifle, too, by the way.
Yeah, he's got it pointed right at him.
I wish you
Actually,
would.
Bill Veck was good with that high-powered rifle, wasn't he,
Telling
Peter?
you, swing the bat, and that's what
Tell
you
me
get.
about it.
It's
Alex
nice.
Loosemore said, well said. Love the offensive line talk coming from a fellow fat guy. Hey, God, I got to bring it back. And I see him pumping his fist. What was that?
Here we go. Ready? Here we go.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
Oliver Chapman says Olin represented Chicago. Facebook user says Bears want Smith, ex-Texans GM. I don't know about that. Christian says, preach, Fat Mike. Preach on, bro. Facebook user, do you guys think the Packers will make it? You know, Peter, I'm going to let you go ahead and take that one. And don't be partial. You got to be you can't be biased because I know you're a Tampa Bay homer, but do you think the Green Bay Packers can make it?
Well, look, they have every opportunity to do that. But with Aaron Rodgers' record in the NFC Championship game being at 1-4, I would actually say no, not likely. And you know what? They may get upset by the San Francisco 49ers in just a couple weeks. So Hey, Green Bay Packer fans, enjoyed that.
Well, I got to say, I'll give you my opinion on it. Hell no.
Oh, no. Come on. You're a Bears homer. Rogers.
Christopher Cole said, Tristan Wirfs, enough said. You're
Yes.
absolutely correct. Hey, man, that was a great comment. Thank you so much for tuning in, Tristan. Ben Cornett says, in my opinion, it's most likely going to be an offensive coordinator that gets the Bears head coaching job, mainly for Justin Fields to help him develop. That's a really, really, really good opinion on that. Thank you, Ben. Roger Shue said, McCaskies are Malakas. Oh, boy. Pig Dog Video 2001 says, well, they had John Fox. He had previous head coaching experience. You know what? Great point. I forgot all about that. Oh, wait a minute. They didn't have to pay him a whole bunch of money.
Well,
Ben
a lot of Bears fans would like to forget about the John Fox era.
Yep. And Ben Cornett says, I love blood boiling, Harry. That's pretty good. Facebook user said, Fields is going to be the best quarterback in the Bears history. Watch my boy a star. Could be. Roger Shue says, Fat Mike, have an old style for me. You know what? I could use an old style. For those of you down here in Florida and across the Midwest that don't know what an old style is, you're missing out on something. But I can tell you this much. Where I grew up in Cicero, there was a bar and an old style sign on every corner, sometimes twice. And I think Mike, I'm going to see Mike. Isn't that true? Yes, thumbs up. Yeah, he's shaking his head. Yeah, that's the middle finger. That's not nice. Now Peter Blake's girlfriend's coming on going, Vin Figuai.
I love you.
That's what she said.
My other girlfriend?
Oh, my God. Come on.
What is
no,
it?
it's Vuman.
What is it? What is it? Dating night for me here? I guess it's the sport code. That's what's.
Hey, just take your pick, I guess. Ben Cornett says all Peter needs is a white dress shirt and a red bow tie, and he says, "Ha ha."
Shut up!
Can anybody name the two famous presidents or the two? I'm sorry, nope. There were two famous people shot in a movie theater. Just think about that for a second. I'm not allowed to say it. One of them was Abraham Lincoln. The other one, I'm not allowed to say. Can I say it, you think, Peter? Can I say it?
Sure, go for it.
It was Abe Lincoln and the man that sat in front of Pee Wee Herman.
Shut up!
Mo Bierman, thanks for tuning in. Nobody else wanted it. Most DC knew Nagy was done. I would probably, you know what? That is an awfully good, analogy. But I don't think that's going to be right. I really don't. Raleigh Barrett Valdez, that boy Mike Hughes. Yeah, he definitely is a lot of fun to have here. Mo Bierman, Fournette carried them last year in the playoffs. Without question, he sure did.
And he will this year too. Watch.
Ben Cornett says, well, that's it. That got to make it past that first run. I wouldn't really tote the ball with him too much, especially coming off that injury. It might be too much, but who knows, man? That's Lombardi Lenny.
Yeah.
But now, according to Antonio Brown, they try to make you play hurt.
Oh, yeah, of course. And according to LaShawn McCoy, the Bucs screwed up the incentives there by not giving Brown the incentive after he had the fake vaccination card. But, oh, by the way, they got Gronk his incentive. They also got Ndamukong Suh his incentive and also hooked up Brown with his incentive. The only incentive at this point is that, first, I don't have to say incentive again. And second, we don't have to talk about the Antonio Brown situation anymore.
He could have been incentivized.
I'm telling you, we all at this point just need to free ourselves from Antonio Brown. Just go make some crappy rap album, hang out with Kanye. You guys could talk about how you sniffed paint when you were kids. I don't know. Whatever you guys do.
You know what? I haven't done it yet on this show, but I need to tell everybody, anybody that's tuning in, make sure you take a moment, share the show. This is how we grow this platform and these shows organically. Go to the YouTube channel on 1252 Sports and make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you want to see Peter Blake, go over to the Peter Blake's channel on the Sports Web and go ahead and like and subscribe. Do it with everybody. We all love it. We're a happy family here. And most importantly, leave a comment. We love the comments because honestly, we like to make it interactive. We haven't had any phone calls today, which is very unusual for the show.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm okay with it. Ben Cornett says Brady has made Leftwich look better than he actually is. BL needs more time as an offensive coordinator before he can be a head coach, in my opinion. Byron Leftwich needs to work with another quarterback as a coordinator before he can be an NFL head coach, in my opinion. So that is another way to look at it. And I kind of agree with Ben Cornett because, hey, brother, Brady can make a lot of people look good. He might be right there. Facebook user says, when they were in the playoffs last year, the Bucs ran the football. That is correct. Ben Cornett says, is that a requirement to be a Bears head coach to eat a Ditka? Talk about pressure, just saying. Mo Bierman says, Moses Moreno. Yeah, no, didn't like him much.
No, I think I go.
Facebook user says, Chicago. Ben Cornett says, past Bucs and Bears quarterbacks are like dog crap and cat crap. Both have stunk. But you can scoop up one, but the other just sticks to the grass to dry out over time. Hardest part is which crap is comparable to each team. Boy, we don't have enough time to even talk about that. Roger Shue says Boys Town. I think he's referring to something, and I'm not going to say it. That's not nice.
No,
not nice, Roger.
Roger,
not nice.
It's not nice to talk about your plans during the weekend, Roger Shue.
That's true. Facebook user, you guys rock. Roger Shue says Ditka's Maxwell Street Polish is awesome.
Shut up!
Well, you see, Peter, you didn't understand. Maxwell, never mind. I have to take you to Chicago to explain it to you. It's an actual street. It's actually pretty cool.
I think Roger Shue is talking about wieners because
he is.
Dick.
Yeah, but the ones you actually eat, Peter.
And Roger,
oh God, that just didn't come out right. I wish Stephen Glasker was on the show tonight.
Boys Town.
Stephen Glasker said, "What's up, fellas?" Stephen, how are you? Roger Shue says, "How do we follow Mike Hughes?"
You need to stop following Mike Hughes. That's the problem there, stalker.
Yeah, really. He is a stalker, isn't he? Troy Polamalu says, "This is a friendly family show when Big Mike is here." And here we go again. Peter Blake's new girlfriend.
Vom Nuginglo.
There you go. And his other girlfriend, that's her sister.
Vom Red. Ooh, a redhead. I love redheads.
That's ED treatment, but just to let you know.
Oh, great.
And here's your other girlfriend.
Vong Org. Hey, moderator Roger Shue, you got to keep these people out of here. Mafing should put. We can't understand what she's saying here.
Ben Cornett says close game, but the Bucs win 23-17, so they don't actually cover the spread. I can appreciate that. Ben, my upset pick is the Steelers over the Chiefs. Really?
Wow. Why everybody is getting on that Steeler bandwagon? We even had David Moser who was saying the same thing.
Wow, I can't see that, man.
I can't see it either.
Big
Ben to me, it's like a dead arm at this point.
No, he's dead, all right. Christopher Cole says, just don't turn the ball over. Roger Shue says, English only in chat, please.
Yeah.
You don't want to read what they were saying. They were talking about how sexy Peter Blake is. Oh, that's pretty good. Facebook user says, this is my upset of the weekend. Steelers 27-24. Wow, that is pretty strong. Ben Cornett says, Chiefs can't stop the run consistently. Also, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is out for Kansas City. Also, TJ Watt didn't play in their previous matchup, so Mahomes had all day to throw the ball. Very interesting. With all due respect, Mr. Cornett, and no.
No,
I don't see that. Chris Cole says Steelers will upset. Okay,
wow.
Chris.
Wow.
There's a lot of people saying
wow,
that. Is this something that you're actually hoping for, or is that something you actually feel? That's my issue there.
I don't know. I mean, it may be gas.
Yep, I think so. Stephen Glasker says, would love to join the show, but busy packing for trip to Tampa tomorrow. That's right. Stephen is on his way down from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yes.
Coming to watch his Tampa Bay Buccaneers play the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the last time I see Fat Mike giving us the number one, the downstroke.
I love that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, honestly, the last time Steven came down, and this could be an omen to all the Buck fans that are actually watching the show off of Peter's platform, they lost.
Did
And
they?
they lost. They got their brakes beat in 9-0 by the New Orleans Saints.
Oh,
So
God.
just saying out there. So anybody that if the Bucks do so happen to lose this game, just blame Steven
Your
Glasker.
fault, Steven Glasker.
Ben Cornett says Bengals, Bills, Bucks, Cowboys in overtime, Steelers upset pick, and Rams. Steven Glasker says, Harry, looking forward to seeing you and hopefully Peter after the game. Yeah, of course you're going to see Harry the Greek and a little Pete. Chicago Clubhouse Network. Yo, yo, yo. What's up? How you guys doing over there? Thank you so much for showing some love over there and letting us go ahead and go on your platform.
Pete right here.
Shut up!
Facebook user says, yep, I grew up with old style. It's not still style. I think he's had a few too many. I don't know who that was. 1252 Sports Entertainment says old style is amazing, but PBR is better. I listen, I'm Harry the Greek, and I do not endorse that comment and approve that message. The Sports Web says old style is amazing, but PBR is better. Oh, here it is.
Oh, wow. Somebody
Abe Lincoln. Okay. So he was playing along. It was Abe Lincoln and the man that sat in front of Pee Wee Herman.
Sure, there you go. Great job.
Chicago, and he goes, we. Oh, so he did know that joke.
Oh.
Chicago Clubhouse said Pee Wee. And your Russian girlfriend's back. I don't know.
Being
seriously,
FYI, Huti Kukuto and
her cousin's here. This is her cousin.
Von Orange.
And this is her mother.
Orange. Von Nigel.
Yep. Stephen Glasker says, why is no one talking about Le'Veon Bell? He's been playing great the last couple of games. If Fournette isn't quite right, give him the rock to Bell. Hey, I agree with you. And if you remember, Peter and I were talking about it on the Sports Web as well as the over-under here on 1252 Sports. We were talking about plenty of times that when Le'Veon Bell gets into the game, that they just need to run him to the tires fall off the car to see what he has left in the tank. Peter, that's a great point.
It is.
I think he still has a ton in the tank. Great job, by the way. Great comment, Steve. Roger Shue says, PBR is my beer since I can't get old style here in Florida. Come on, guy. We know you're a Black Label guy. Peter already told me. Sports Web. Peter Blake is the man. Sports Web. Like and subscribe. Chicago Clubhouse Network. Peter Blake is the man. Sports Web. Like and subscribe.
Wow.
It's all the way across. 1252 Sports. 1252 Sports. Sports Web. LOL. Ha 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 ha. Ben Cornett. And it just keeps going on. Stephen Glasker says, way ahead of you. The Sports Web already liked and subscribed.
Nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. Talking about wieners, Chicago Clubhouse Network.
that's right there.
Talking. Oh my God, they're all talking about wieners. Chicago says, "Oh Jesus." Christopher Cole says Bell and Lenny should be on the field at the same time, especially on third down. Stephen Glasker says, agreed with you, Christopher Cole. Ben Cornett says those names on Peter's girlfriends are the names of Peter's palms. That's how far I'll go with that.
Shut up!
You know, I like that one. That's the comment of the week. I got to read it again. Those names of Peter's girlfriend, names on Peter's palms. That's how far I'll go. Ben Cornett says, just the feeling that the Steelers will win the game. You know what? I get it. I get it.
That's what
I think
you're
it's more
feeling
wishing.
right now. It's gas.
Roger Shue says, don't be a Peter. Don't be a little Peter.
Oh, I can't do it on mine. See,
I know you can't, brother. Hey, that's what happens when I got better equipment, but that's okay. Christopher Cole says, stay at the hotel, Steven.
Shut up.
Stephen Glasker says, thanks a lot, Harry. Hey, Tampa, don't at me if the Bucks lose. LOL. No,
yeah, they better not lose.
Bro.
It is your fault. It's your fault.
It's your fault.
Your fault.
It's your fault.
Your fault.
Here's another one. Stephen Glasker is my new Newman. Huh?
It's from Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ben Cornett says, Peter thought that Rolex would elevate his swag, but that's true.
I'll tell you what. How about this, Ben, and you?
Shut up!
And here's another one for you and Ben.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I got to tell you, man, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of
too.
fun having Mike and Mike on here. And I'll tell you what a catchy name for Mike.
Yeah.
Mike on the mic.
So, it sounds like a radio show down the road.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good. It seems like everybody's kind of really diversified. I mean, it's like everybody's going from platform to platform. You know what? There's nothing wrong with playing nice in the sandbox.
It's not. There's nothing wrong with that unless you don't.
I just wish my old platform felt the same way.
Yeah, they don't. They're kind of.
I'm only kidding.
Yeah. No, you're not. But
Peter is a cutie at 12:52. Oh my God!
What the hell is going on here today?
Why you hating? Stephen Glasker says. Ben Cornett says, "Great show, Harry, Peter, Mike, and Mike Hughes. Chicago Clubhouse podcast. I'm sorry, Chicago Clubhouse Networks. 12:52 and Sports Web are on the up and up."
Yes. Again,
Roger Shue says, "Great community."
There you go.
Peter.
Yes.
It's going to be a really good weekend, man.
It is.
I can't
ready.
wait. You know, I'm
so
going to work tomorrow.
I am so excited about
Are
this.
you sure you're excited?
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Hang on. I don't believe you. I'm going to go full screen.
I'm excited about this show. I'm excited about the weekend. I'm excited about getting up in the morning and eating something and drinking my coffee. I am so excited. In fact, I've had too much coffee. Super wild card weekend.
Fat Mike effing loves you guys. I just love Fat Mike, bro.
Yeah.
I just do. Steven Glasker says your old platform sucks.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get some applause for that. Hold on a sec. Hold on.
Yes! 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 Yes!
I have no idea what Steven Glasker is talking about.
None, right?
Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. You want to make an appearance?
Is the cat going to be the next? Oh, here you go.
Here you go.
This
is for my buddies.
It's almost like the new platform. This is
there you go.
Platform. They'll put anybody on.
As Fat Mike is going to go, hey, man, I kind of like that. That's kind of sexy.
There you go. You're just putting anybody on the platform now, huh? Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, kind of. Kind of. Uh-oh. Easy Glasker, a.k.a. Newman. I don't know, Peter. It's going to be a great weekend. I'm going to have a lot of fun. All I know is I'm going to work about a half a day tomorrow. I'm going to come home. We're going to get some barbecue going. There's nothing like playoff football. There really isn't. There really isn't anything. Yeah, playoffs. Are you talking about playoffs?
About playoffs?
Now that there's nobody on here, who do you think? And I'm going to put this narrative to bed because I know someone's going to be knocking on the door. Let me in. Let me in. Who do you want to see as the Chicago Bears' next head coach?
I want to see Jim Harbaugh as the next coach with Vic Fangio. And I think they can turn it around in I think it could be turned around in a year or two. Honestly, I think he can. What he did with the San Francisco 49ers. And the only reason why Jim Harbaugh was fired from the San Francisco 49ers is because of the stupid general manager that's with the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, Trent Baalke. It's not Jim Harbaugh and his performance. He got the most out of Alex Smith. He got the most out of Kaepernick, before the kneeling thing. Just saying.
I got to bring him in. Hold on.
Yes.
Hi, Mike.
Oh, hello.
Hi. How are you, buddy?
Honestly, you're asking about who do you want to see as
hello? Hey,
hello.
Listen. On my old show on the Bucks Report, we had the angry producer with Rick Hughes. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, this is not the angry producer. This is the cat that kicks the shit out of the angry produder. Okay? This is my boy right here. This is
beautiful pussy you got there, Harry.
This is Inkers.
It's a beautiful pussy you got there.
It's
Harry.
a challenge, Rick. It's a challenge. Bring out the angry producer. I got Inkers over here. He's gonna kick your ass.
Easy,
right?
Glasker.
Kick him.
Easy. Hello, Glasker.
Christopher Cole says, great show, guys. Thank you. Mike, say goodnight, my brother.
Good night. But who I want to see is the Bears' next head coach. Honestly,
Yes.
100%. 100%. Kellen Moore, in this order. Kellen Moore, defensive coordinator, Dallas Cowboys. Number 2, I want to see that guy, Brian Flores, here. Number 3, at that point, you're just shooting fish in a barrel. So go ahead.
I'll take it. I'll take it. That Mike, have a good one. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Peter.
Yeah.
It's time, my brother.
It is time. You know what time it is? I don't know. What is it? What time is it? Is it time to promote?
It's time to promote, sir.
Yes, it is. There
Give
it
it
is.
your best, my brother. Hang on. Show me what time it is.
Well, that's time right there. It's my time. It's the Sports Web live on Monday and Wednesday nights on I Love St. Pete. Like and subscribe to the evolution of sports talk television on YouTube and do 3 things for me. Of course, I'll be here on 1252 on Friday nights with Harry the Greek. 3 things, write them down. There's a quiz afterwards, kids. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. Have a great
giving
night.
you your Rolex reporter. You take care, Peter.
All right, buddy. See
Oh, wow. Now that was an interesting night. We went a little over 2 hours. We decided to go about 15 minutes early because anytime you have Fat Mike on, we have a new guest on, we have to talk about a lot of different things. And I know sometimes it could be a little loquacious, but you know what? We all mean well. But don't forget to tip your bartender on the way out. Only kidding. You want to tip us? Make us grow organically. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Take a second. Put it on someone's timeline. Let them have a chance to go ahead and take a look at the show and all the wonderful things that 1252 Sports is doing. I mean, great shows. You got Fat Mike on Wednesday night. You got the recently retired, the legend himself on Monday nights, Mr. Fred Hubner. On Sunday night, you're going to have David, oh my Lord, Schuster. Sorry, it's been a long day for me. And the list just continues to go on and on and on. And I promise you, in the middle of next season, a lot more exciting things are going to be coming through. They're going to be building websites, the whole 9 yards. It's going to be a lot of fun. For all your news and information, make sure you tune in to 1252 Sports Entertainment in Chicago. I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. We do have a couple of, actually, I'm not going to go ahead and read any more of the comments because it's someone in my back room just hitting the hashtag love because we're feeling good. And as I always say, always say, in gambling, keep your bets low and your returns high. Thanks for tuning in on 1252 Sports on the Over-Under. I'm your host, Harry the Greek. We're going to see you next week, Friday night. You guys have a great evening.